Flutes are civil. Conan broke the internet with his Vikingo contract news, though. Everyone's saying he's going to WWE.
Well, they can say whatever they want. That's not happening right now, that's for sure.
Apparently, Maeda would go all over the world, and he would challenge people in circuses. That's where you fought. Dude, he was having MMA fights all over the world. He was famous. This is what Jean-Jacques told me. I think Kano was his master. Apparently, something like they didn't want him to take these fights in these circuses and stuff anymore. So he took a fight in Mexico, and he wore a mask so he wouldn't get busted. And he was the one who started the mask wearing in pro wrestling. Maeda started it.
Was it really called the
That's what Jean-Jacques told me.
Libre?
Well, folks, it's been a night to remember, but right now we are out of time. I'm Nick Diamond.
I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin.
And I'm Johnny Gomez. On behalf of all of us here at Celebrity Deathmatch, good fight, good night.
I'd be remiss for my friend if I didn't ask you about Fallen Angel.
So the Fallen Angel is a performer named Chris Daniels, and Chicago guy.
Yeah.
And was brought out to Los Angeles, and he had the daunting task of taking someone like me who couldn't move and trying to teach them the basics.
How to move.
The basics of the business.
Ladies and gentlemen, shit's about to hit the fan.
The system is broken. It was time for a revolution. We could be the wrestlers that we want to be.
We have our own stories. We make our
secret.
Am I safe? What am I safe?
Oh my God. They snuck in. It's beautiful. Thanks for getting in.
Of course. So it felt great to see Tony. He has been incredibly supportive through this entire process. Of course, we had communicated and talked, but it's not the same as seeing someone face.
Hey, I'll close the door. I'm going to run by every time I go to the bathroom.
Oh my God, of course.
Yes.
It's Wednesday! You know what that means? AEW Dynamite is live in Los Angeles at the fabulous Kia Forum.
All right, we're 2 minutes here. I'm going to give you the 5:30.
A win!
Thank you.
So I talked to Tony last week, and he told me there's a plan. So I just got to trust him. You know, I trusted him before, and I became TNT champion 3 times.
Dr. Britt Baker should be better than these. Neck breaker. She's near fall. Let's Serena blow into the shot. Here's our finish.
I decide I'm not only going to hide in Tony's office, but I'll hide in Tony's bathroom.
Oh, shit! She missed that table. She landed right on the floor.
Hey, you okay? Oh, yeah. It's crazy. To get to the bell in 2 and change so we can celebrate.
The kid style.
At this point,
literally ready to throw up.
Let's do it.
By the ring.
Thanks, Tony. Thank you.
This is it. I mean,
Let's go.
In months!
Go see a watch out of that Cole, baby.
Seriously, every single day, I'd read things like, I miss Adam Cole. The thing is, the bad news, it's not for me.
Amazing.
Oh, thank you. So good.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Just to do it. Feels good. Feels so good. I'm so happy.
Let's f***ing go, TK. All right, boys, I gotta go out. All right, he's okay?
Yeah, I think so. He just needed a minute.
Okay.
3 minutes. 3 minutes off air. 3 minutes off air.
No! Damn it, God damn it!
What's happening, guys? Welcome to another epic, super duper, uber woober, eclectic PWT run-in. I am, of course, your host, the infallible, the fanatical, the quite frank, and the very full Phil Marks. Yeah, what's happening, guys? It's Tuesday. How's the week going? You guys can hear me all right. I hope everything's good. You guys can see the screen there just fine. Someone was saying, oh, come on now, Phil, that long intro isn't very fair. Well, come on, 5 minutes. That's pretty good. I've let that thing run like 13 before, okay? So 5's not bad, 5's not bad. Today is a fun PWT run-in. PWT fun-in, if you will. So make sure you guys run those likes up, like Crunchy Cheeto Creations, one of our prize winners, who I gotta check. I haven't checked my emails yet today, buddy. So, but yeah, prize winners claiming their prizes finally. We still got a shirt, so me and George are like, dude, we're tired of using TV time. It's not on TV. YouTube's TV for people, but it's like we're tired of using like airtime for this fucking giveaway. It's been like 3 weeks. But yeah, we got a shirt to give away unless someone claims it. But anyways, consider becoming a member like Crunchy Cheeto Creations. It's only $1. People win stuff. I don't know. Consider hitting subscribe. Consider hitting that like button. I want to run them up to 100. You guys already know that. Also, what else? YouTube.com/@prowrestletimes. We're at like 1,500 subs. You guys are goated. We're at like 5,200 subs basically already on this channel. Round of applause for the PWT universe. Go. We hit 5,000 and like all of my metrics, they're always like high in the green. I'm always like beating myself every week and every month, But damn, we hit that 5K and it's like all these everything's just blowing up right now. So you guys are amazing. What else do I got to plug? Patreon.com/prowrestletimes. There's a new Tough Enough episode 5. Myself and Alt Jake watch it, and it is great. It is where they do the first actual round of cuts. I don't want to spoil what happens in the show in case you guys forget, right? And we watch it right there on screen. We're watching, Total Divas in the new year. Me and my girl we're watching all the Botchamanias. I'm watching all type of shit. I watched like Ali versus Inoki on there. We got every wrestler who's ever gotten punked, like a compilation. The 10 minutes of Tony Khan unedited. So if you like what you saw in the intro there's like a longer version, the edited down version's on YouTube, but there's a longer version that's on Patreon. So yeah, make sure you guys go check that out. That's my shameless shilling of my own stuff for the first 10 minutes as we let people file in. And then, let's rock this thing. Chat, how you guys doing? I'm going to check in with chat. Okay. And the first mug here. Yeah, guys, vote on the poll as well. So let me just run this whole intro here, okay? I guess we'll just start it from the top. I am Phil Marks. Welcome to another PWT run-in from the top, boys. And this one is Dave Meltzer, a year in review. I want to shout out my guy, Alfred Konuwa, at Pro Wrestling Bits on YouTube, at This Is Nasty on X. Round of applause for him because we're going to EFAP his video. And basically, his video encapsulates all of the best moments of Meltzer. And so it's like, we're going to react to him. We're going to react to it. Of course, we've already reacted to all of this shit and more. We've done time machine stuff this year. We've gone back and reacted to Dave talking about Daniel Pewter and shit, But Alfred put together an amazing video, and then we also have another video we're going to watch after that. That's like a reminder, a refresher, legends throughout the years right? WWE legends and superstars over the years burying Dave Meltzer as well, or at least giving their opinions on him. And I guess that leaves me no other choice but to kick things off officially by playing a flute for what could be considered the burial of Dave Meltzer Part 2 for PWT, what could be considered the very best of Dave Meltzer in 2024. But this is a year in review of Dave Meltzer, and this is a gigantic year in review of a dummy moment of the week. There we go. So let's look here. Brian. Sup, PWT Universe. Okay, yeah. So I had to play the flute, had to check in with chat. So basically, yeah, let's start off by checking out this Alfred Konuwa video here. I'm going to share this tab. Sorry. Ill prepared. No, we're good to go, baby. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So let's big screen this, and we're going to EFAP this together. And this is Meltzer getting roasted for 30 minutes straight. We're going to pause. We're going to yap about it. If you get triggered by EFAPs, it's like, hey, just go watch the video yourself. You know what I mean? And give your own reactions. Start your own channel. But yeah, we're going shake and bake. I hit yes by accident. Yeah, so I posed the question in the chat as well. There's a poll in the chat. Should Bryan Alvarez get a pass? Yes or no? Even though he's been holding Meltzer's feet to the fire, I say no. I say he's not getting a pass. Not yet, anyways. Do you know what I mean? Crunchy Cheeto Creations a member for 8 months. Thank you very, 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 very much. So I don't think he gets a pass because he still peddles dumb shit. If you listen to the Ray Phoenix situation, he's like, you know, it's really subjective which healthcare is better. And then he just goes on to explain how WWE's healthcare is infinitely better than AEW's. So it's still little shit like that. And he tries to argue with Dave, but it's impossible too. Like people say it all the time. I'd hold his feet to the fire, but what the fuck? He'll just get stupid and, you know, he just brings you down to his dumb level. You just get infuriated. And then if you're getting mad at a stupid person, it's like, God damn it, you lost, you know? So Brian can only do so much. And I do give him kudos for saying something, and he will snap one day. A man can only take so much. However, with that being said, let's get into Alfred Konuwa's video here at This Is Nasty. Make sure you go subscribe to him and check out his channel and all of that. And he does great work here. Let's dive into it.
24. And if what he's saying about AEW's latest feud is true, which knowing Dave, it's probably not. But if it is, then AEW is spiraling even worse. Dave Meltzer is capping his ass off in 2024, and the Lying Observer newsletter continues to erupt in flames. We're less than 3 months into the new year, and Dave Meltzer has already had more retractions than the amount of hairs on David Bix's neck. Dave Meltzer just posted the dumbest tweet you'll ever see him post for a week.
David Bix catching strays too. Stormpin Shirakawa, excellent match. All three kissed when it was over. All you know story people looking like fools right now.
And it's gone stupid viral because of how stupid the tweet was. Dave Meltzer has done it again. The Michael Jordan of Psych reporting has hit another brick in a week where he got multiple big stories wrong, all during a year where he's been as accurate as Olympic judging in gymnastics. Christian Cage exposed Dave Meltzer and his sheep voters as hypocrites in this year's meaningless Wrestling Observer Awards. In fact, Christian broke the award.
So Christian also is one of the first people in AEW. Here, I'm actually going to close. I got too many windows open. He's one of the first people in AEW as well, Christian, to be like, oh, fuck. You know, like, fuck Wrestling Observer or whatever. Bryan Alvarez, you're a geek or whatever. I'm sure he'll cover it, but yeah, just pretty funny. I'm sorry. Here, let me hit play on this.
awards entirely. Now, I don't waste my time voting on these bullshit participation trophies. I'm more of a wolf than a sheep, but I do study them, and those who do vote embarrass themselves time and again, doing Meltzer's bidding, all while proving themselves to be every bit as hypocritical as aging Dave himself. Sling Blade Dave has stuttered and stammered his way through faulty reporting more times than ever this year. He's basically the Super Dave Osborne of wrestling news. And through, put it this way, through, through AEW.
That shit's fucking hilarious.
Struggles, Super Dave Meltzer's brand of professional wrestling continues its violent disconnect with a mainstream audience during AEW's most important time. Subscribe in Swahili. Anytime any wrestler is asked about Meltzer's rating system, they scoff. It's like when a stranger asks a comedian to tell them a joke. I've got a joke for you. Why did the Meltzer cross the road? Because his in-home nurse left the door open. Here's a quick montage of some of the best professional wrestlers alive talking about the imaginary 5-star system.
You have a very rare 5-star rated match with Cole.
Don't get me started on the ratings.
I am much more concerned.
Even Mike Maljack Fax, even he's fucking laughing at Meltzer's stupid 5-star ratings. Like,
for WWE rather than one individual trying to grade me in a level of star.
Do you think you're as good as he thinks you are?
No, because like when you talk about guys like Kurt Angle and he hasn't got one 5-star match, I'm nowhere near the level of what Kurt Angle is.
I broke the scale. It fucked up something in his brain where he doesn't even know what good matches are.
Dave Meltzer's Twitter World Tour has reached batshit level red. They say once you pass 100,000 tweets, Elon Musk sends you a teal ankle bracelet to make sure you can stay your ass home. Dave's at 130,000, which means his blue check mark will be upgraded to a blue question mark to celebrate his midlife crisis. Congratulations, Sling Blade. I don't know whom to believe because both AEW and Dave Meltzer
all I can do is laugh. Some of this shit is just so good. And yes, follow them below. Follow down here. Otherworld Rio as well.
Unreliable narrators who are bleeding credibility by the second. It's like that movie Gone Girl, which also had 2 unreliable narrators. But now the only thing gone is half of AEW's demo. Khan basically learned wrestling through Meltzer's point of view. And he was even an Observer junior correspondent. Like being a Boy Scout, but if you get badges for bullshit. Tony Khan was once a junior correspondent for the Wrestling Observer newsletter, which is like funding Jill Stein's campaign with CryptoZoo. This man used to be...
Oh my God, Alfred's so on point. And a great Photoshop job here.
A junior correspondent for the Wrestling Observer newsletter, which is like getting rejected from the wrestling club and then trying to colonize it. Tony Khan doesn't book for the culture. He books for Dave Meltzer, who's more yogurt cultured. Remember, Tony Khan used to be a junior correspondent for the Wrestling Observer newsletter, which is like being in student government because you ran unopposed. I don't know if I've mentioned this on this channel before, but Tony Khan used to be a junior correspondent for the Wrestling Observer newsletter, which is like being a sideline reporter at a Ring of Honor show now. Khan isn't relatable.
Oh my God, dude, that's amazing. A side news reporter at a Ring of Honor show now. Like, who's even there? And then him just hugging everyone throughout it. And yes, we're gonna get like some legends. I have like another video with a bunch of other legends because that was great hearing them all just like sigh at even Ospreay's like, well, Kurt Angle don't go 4 stars, bruv. He's restored the feeling, bruv.
He grew up in a sheltered environment as the son of a billionaire. He spent most of his free time on a message board as a junior correspondent for the Wrestling Observer newsletter, which is like being the editor of a school newspaper and the school shooter. February is Black History Month. So here's every single word written this month in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. All 100.
Holy shit. Who did this? I hope Alfred used fucking AI to help him get all of this in character counter. Now I use the same site. But Jesus, this is all of the words written in that time. Let's hear where Alfred goes with this.
40,000 words. Let's see how many times this unbiased journalist with his unbiased agenda wrote about Black history. Let's try the word Black History Month. Nope. Black people? No. Black wrestler? No. African? Nope. Not one single solitary word about the culture during February. See, this is what marginalization looks like, by the way. But Dave is from a different time, so God forbid, let's try colored. No, thank God. Blacks.
Yeah, good, thank God. Oh my God.
Negro? 9 times the Oh, he's talking about luchadors. He meant negro. Let's try Negroes. No. Darkies? What about niggas?
No.
Yeah, that better not be in the motherfucking Observer. So this man wrote over 140,000
Thank God, yeah. Jesus Christ.
words during Black History Month without once bothering to
Got nervous there, chat. Got nervous there.
talk about Black history. Imagine trying to explain a 5-star feud between Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, and Dave Meltzer to your girlfriend. So there's this white, highly athletic wrestler from New Japan Pro Wrestling named Kenny Omega, and he's in a rivalry with this other white, highly athletic wrestler from New Japan Wrestling named Will Ospreay. And both wrestlers check pretty much the same boxes because they're mostly known for their wrestling ability with average charisma, no memorable promos, no seasoning, no grits, no collard greens, no sizzle, and zero relatability to anybody who doesn't appreciate the delicate nuances of the true sport of professional wrestling. And then there's this guy in his 60s from San Jose who grades matches based on a 5-star rating scale. And his grades have nothing to do with the build-up or storyline behind the match. It's only about the match.
Yeah, this is exactly why my wife fucking doesn't like AEW. Every time I try to watch it with her, I spend it like fucking explaining all this stuff. Whereas if there's anything I don't mention about WWE, they explain it in a package or something. Jimmy B for $5 says Alvarez can get the pass if he agrees to a backstage brawl with CM Punk. Dude, what? Why that? What the fuck? Yeah, I guess he sort of pushed that narrative, but yeah, you're just like, nah, dude. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't. We'll see. Maybe 2025 is like the tipping point, you know? Hopefully Alvarez gets addressed a bit more in this year because he snapped out a couple times. Actually, a clip I uploaded like a day ago or so. It's got like 7K views on it, or I don't know, like 8K or something like that. So go and check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, it's Bryan Alvarez loses his mind on Meltzer again, and we reacted to it recently. So that's my big thing. It's like, okay, will Meltzer give it up? No, those are all silly questions going into 2025, right? Like we don't worry about that. He's not going to change, right? We focus on what could actually shake shit up. Alvarez might tip. He might get the pass soon if he actually, but he can't because he has to inherit the empire. So he'll push back a little bit, and I'm starting to get a bit of appreciation. As I said last time, like if Alvarez doesn't push back, we get zero pushback. We don't get to witness any pushback whatsoever because we goddamn sure know Conan ain't gonna do it. No,
Conan.
Shout out Conan. But yeah, thank you so much for the super chat. Here we go. Let's check out. I remember this one too, where Alfred's like explaining. Imagine trying to explain to your girl like this overcomplicated. There's a 60-year-old and blah 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 blah. It's fucking hilarious.
Self and how hard these two oiled up males can hit each other.
Like they're both very athletic, and one of them, you know, that's exactly it too. Who pointed it out to me? Joey Numbers or someone. It's like if you describe one of these dudes in AEW as well, like you describe many people. Like if I describe Action Andretti, you'd be like, oh, is that Will Ospreay? If I described him and I didn't say his name, you know, you could attribute the same things to like 4 other people, you know, and not to say that doesn't happen in WWE, or like you couldn't do the same thing, but it's just a matter of we've covered it as well. Like Dave Meltzer drools over Nathan Frazier, and it's like, well, why are you drooling over him? Because they're booking him so well and his wrestling's so good. You know, if he goes to AEW, he's just going to be another dude lost in they're going to put him against Leo Rush. And then the thing that makes Nathan Frazier special isn't going to make him special anymore, you know? So we got to get that point. I don't know why people, that's where like cognitive dissonance sets things. It's like, you have to accept that. No, like there's like no similar tag teams in, let's say, WWE, whereas in AEW, there's like 3 or 4 tag teams where their attributes are like, okay, we can flip around and shit. You know, in NXT, it's Fraxium. On the main roster, I mean, who's even really kind of doing that shit? And then again, I'll criticize DIY and MCMG for the same shit. You know, if you were to just describe them and leave their name out of it and not use the word bald, you'd pretty much be describing the same team, you know? So you don't want too much of the same, right? When I do my hired or fired, so I'm like, okay, masked guys, line up, you know? There's like 2 of you at the most. One guy can paint their face, unless you're Sting, you know? So I get what Alfred's getting at with that point. I don't know why more people don't understand, or like lots of people do, but when I say more people, I just mean like, you know what I mean? The diehard fucking over defenders to where, and I just don't, I don't know. Tony Khan is who I mean. I want him to wake the fuck up. I'm praying one day he just like hears this and goes, oh, Phil's actually right. His heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Well executed their holds are. How many times they dropped
Sorry, we got to continue.
themselves on their heads, and being in the Tokyo Dome certainly helps too. Anyway, a 5-star match is considered a great match, and one day Kenny Omega broke that scale by having a 7-star match. But now Will Ospreay is considered the new Kenny Omega.
His creativity grew 3-folds that Christmas Eve.
And he just had a match that got 6.5 stars. No, honey, wake up, please, wake up, stay with me. Okay. So Ospreay had a 6.5 star rating recently, and Kenny Omega got jealous because Kenny's now saying that Kenny broke the Dave Meltzer star ratings to the point where Dave no longer knows what he's talking about. And to settle this internet beef, Kenny is going to get into a fake fight against Will Ospreay to try to fix the star rating system once and for all. That's so relatable, right, babe? Babe, wake up. Why did you fall asleep again? The story is so relatable. OMG, did I just bore you into a coma?
Last night's promo, last night's promo with Will Ospreay was just, to put it this way, it was just out of this world.
AEW President Tony Khan was raised
a backwards hat, cool kid Meltzer. Oh my God.
On the Wrestling Observer message boards. So much so he calls his laptop Uncle Mac. Khan and AEW haven't even been around for a decade, and already they have the second most 5-star matches as a promotion because Khan books for Dave Meltzer.
Exactly. And that's where it's bullshit. And Dave will sit there and tell people legitimately, no, my star ratings are not just based on what I like. We covered it like a year ago, maybe even more at this point. But Dave said that shit. No, my star ratings, I've given matches I don't like. I wouldn't typically like a high star rating because of the quality. Then how the fuck does AEW have all of these the highest star ratings? They have the most 5, 6, 7-star, whatever the fuck. I don't know. Has he given an AEW match a 7-star yet? He's going to save that one for Fletcher or what?
AEW is essentially New Japan Pro white boys. Anytime people
oh my God,
talk to me about wrestling, they either say A, they used to watch as a kid, or B, they just started watching it again. Either way, they always talk about the characters and storylines, never the wrestling itself.
Always.
Never the 5 stars. If I were to show them a picture of Dave Meltzer and ask if they knew who it was, they'd be like, yeah, I love Carl Childers. Despite his ratchet reporting, Dave Meltzer is not over and done. Meltzer is actually getting over by being pro wrestling's Rita Skeeter, even though R-Truth is more accurate than Dave Meltzer these days.
He's just got,
R-Truth is more accurate than Dave fucking Meltzer.
I put it this way, he's got so much charisma, and he's
Meltzer reaches more than fucking R-Truth setting up a ladder in the middle of a Rumble match, dude.
He's so charisma-y.
His failures go so viral, they actually raise his profile as a bumbling journalist. That's literally his gimmick. He's Manti Te'o, but instead of having a fake girlfriend, he just makes up fake stories. Full disclosure, and as I've said many times on this app, I subscribe to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Dave Meltzer is wrestling's most venerable journalist, but that's like being a premier drill rapper in Flatlit, Kentucky. In the words of
and I've said it too. Meltzer's paramount value, we'll call it, is he provides historical text for shit we wouldn't otherwise have historical text for, you know? Like what he's done for like history as far as collecting the data before we could just do it ourselves on the internet. That shit's awesome. But since like smartphones, Dave has been what's the word? Irrelevant. I don't even want to say, because he has been relevant, but it's like inconsequential, I guess, or benign. I don't know what the word is that I'm trying to use, right? Shadow Badass for $5 says, one of my friends says AEW is nothing but kicks, flips, and dives. Yeah, I mean, and I like kick flips and dives and shit sometimes, you know? It is fun. It is amazing, you know? We all love the Cruiserweight division from back in the SmackDown days. But is that what you just base everything around? Or like as Meltzer describes, right? When he was talking about Nathan Frazier again, because this was very recent. And what did he say? Oh, you get rewarded. And if you go to AEW, they'll pay you for being like really fast and athletic and shit. Okay, but he's going to be shelved and not used. You know? So there can be kicks, flips, and dives, but you got to do everything in moderation. But exactly, when outsiders try to watch the shit, they can't really get into it. I'm telling you, people love drama. They love good promos. They love people who look cool, who look good, and the moments. And Alfred covered that, you know, already. But it's all about the moments. You know, we beat it over the head here. Scully Vibes is for $5 says Meltzer proved this year, unless he's trolling, that he really doesn't understand what works in wrestling. His future of it failed. Yeah, and I think it's cool in small doses. I think it's cool for the indies. I think AEW would be really successful if they did their weekly television show. I think I've pitched this on this show before, but basically what I was hoping AEW was going to be is like, okay, they work with other promotions, but also they run indies, smaller buildings and stuff, sort of like PWG style or however they do it, but they bring that level of like production and everything to these smaller venues, sort of like Ring of Honor, but like you have Tony Khan's money, so more than that, but you just run indies all over the place. And then you do like a compilation show of like, here's what happened in AEW this week, whatever. Here's like this match, whatever. And then you do like these super pay-per-views after like 3 months or whatever, every 3 months. I think that would work better because I think that works better for Tony's vision as well, you know? It's like, why you do it. I hope I explained that well. I know it kind of sucks the way I explained it, but it's hard for me to put it into words. Like, you guys know what I mean? They do indies everywhere. So like indie guys can come work their shit, and Cody Rhodes, let's say he's still a wrestler there, or let's use a more current, MJF shows up at an indie. He's doing that anyway. So why don't you just put on AEW indie shows everywhere, film it all, you know, and then your weekly TV show is like a compilation of the key shit. Then like put out a YouTube show or whatever the fuck you want to do of like the other matches or whatever. You can upload them all to the whole events or whatever, but your television show is like vignettes and promos and the key, like sort of what they were doing on YouTube, like what Dustin and Cody were doing back and forth, but then you just sort of bring that to TV, and then you just show like matches from indies, or holy fuck, look, MJF was in Rev Pro to call out Ospreay, and here's the match on our TV show, blah 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 blah. And then you just build to like every 3 months, here's a super pay-per-view where and then people I think would get more behind that, you know, like, holy shit, AEW, they do their show once every 2 months and it's the best of all the indie guys or whatever the fuck. I think that would have made a bigger wave, and that was sort of my vision for it. But when they dove head first with like, we're going Dynamite and everything, it had that WCW feel, so I was behind that too. But I think that's why I woke up a little sooner than most too, because it's like, bro, it was just all a bill of goods, sort of, you know, like that's what I anticipated. And then it was something totally different. And I'm like, okay, Cody Rhodes' vision is like, let's fucking take this, let's Starcade this shit. Let's Dusty Rhodes it, let's take it to the moon. Let's sports entertainment the fuck out of these people, but do it more nitty and gritty. And then, I don't know, just the Bucks and Tony and Dave are like, no, we want to, I don't fucking know, man. I don't know. We want to just do this other thing over here. And, hey, that's their prerogative. They're the ones with the checkbooks, I guess, right? But I think my idea would have been better for how to make a successful AEW, at least in the beginning. Then you take it to that next level. But I was just hoping like, oh, this is a super indie show and it's sort of acknowledging it. And then you start to see these guys week to week and they just get exposed, They're just exposed as like the Young Bucks. That shit doesn't work when you do it every single week, man. And yeah, I don't know. We've beat it over the head. Let's continue along.
The OG Eric Bischoff, Dave is a useful idiot. One of Dave Meltzer's keys to more engagement, in addition to virally terrible reporting, is interacting with trolls on Twitter. Dave only picks fights he knows he could win, all to create the narrative and the lie that anybody who disagrees with Meltzer is a troll who doesn't read the Observer. Dave tells one troll after another on the Bird app, you don't read, and you don't read, and you don't read, and I'll put it this way, you don't read the Observer? Feels like listening to Dave Meltzer try to get through a sentence. Well, put it this way, I don't know, I could come back for Dallas, but, I don't know. You don't want the smoke with subscribers who actually do read like me, but who are well versed in his fuckery and can slice him to pieces like any of the sentences he tries to put together when he talks. Meltzer said what is the best in the world at calling out all of Dave's screw-ups.
The GOAT.
Also a longtime subscriber, and guess what? Dave has him blocked. Dave has gone on record in saying he doesn't like fighting with other media people. Yes, Dave likes to take the high road by arguing with the deranged subredditors who are beneath him. At least I think they're beneath him. Because Dave refusing to feud with other wrestling media types is basically him saying he's intellectually inferior to his own peers and superiors and would rather fight with the hill people under the bridge that is Internet Skid Row. But yeah, then there was this gem.
Poor people don't like AEW.
I don't want to say he's better than The Rock, but he is times 20.
Dave Meltzer provides entertaining fakery and fuckery, if you'll pardon my Swahili. He's offering.
So I don't know if this will be in the video. Sorry, I'm just baffled by that shit too, because it's like just a trip down memory lane. I mean, Jesus Christ, poor people don't like AEW or that whole low. That's why if you see me on Twitter, I'm always like low IQ. And you see Neckbeards does the high IQ thing too. And I'm always using that as like a diss because I'm not really saying, it's just, that's what Meltzer and them say, like low IQ pores and shit. So like only watch WWE and actually rich people don't, or only watch AEW or whatever the fuck he tries to peddle. It's all of this nonsense. And then you see these sickos parrot this stuff, right? And I don't know if it's going to get covered later or not, but with the whole WCW thing as well, like Meltzer saying shit. Even Conrad Thompson was like, oh, come on now, Meltzer, that's not very fair. Even Conrad was like, where is it?
Come on now, Eric.
Oh, come on now, Eric. Even he's going, dude, how the fuck would Bischoff aggressively, or pardon me, how would Tony Khan have known to go after Dwayne? Like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. How would he know to do that? Let's say he owned WCW. How would he know to find, Conrad called him by his Flex Cavana or whatever, that went on to become Rocky Maivia, who also was like scouted by Pat Patterson. How the fuck would Tony know that? And Dave inserts that into his like, yeah, Tony Khan would have kept the thing in 2000, wouldn't have happened with WCW. It's like, bro, you can't say this crazy shit. And then he goes out there, and one of the craziest things he's ever said was like, poor people don't like AEW or whatever the fuck, only rich, high IQ people. It's weird. You'd think the higher money they make, only poor dumb people like WWE actually. And even now, and I don't know if it'll be in this video, but Dave is talking about WWE wanted TNA to sign Tessa. because they are interested in her because she's all surrounded in controversy. Notice anything negative right now in pro wrestling, Dave will try and tie it to WWE because he's trying so desperately, and he has been for a while, but now that's all he's got, you know. But anyways, moving along, that's just mind-boggling, and I'm so glad that we have this video to always remind everyone forever. Yeah.
Up trash content that allows him to fail upward. It's a faulty institution of lies from a well-connected reporter who writes stories that are disconnected from reality. It's really no different from any wrestling journalist in a planet littered with tribal cronyism. Get it how you live.
Dude. Oh my God, that's the funniest shit of all time. Oh my God, here Justin Booth for $10 says the reason WCW is better than AEW is because Eric Bischoff was smart enough to have Kevin Sullivan, who had experience booking wrestling, to book his shows. Exactly, dude. And thank you so much. We got to drop some fucking air horns for these dudes. Dropping 10 boners. Yeah, and also they had compelling characters. They had larger than life people. They had good storylines. They had fucking, pardon me, hydrating. Not soda water, but iced coffee. You know, they had like competent people there, exactly. And Eric knew where to delegate tasks, and that's all it boils down to. Again, I've said this a billion times. We criticize Vince for being spread too thin and having to always have the last say on everything. Now, provided, yes, he was a good creative filter, obviously, for years, for a lot of shit, for a lot of talent, because look at the empire he built. You know, that's not by accident, that's not by mistake. But ultimately he was spread too thin, and at the end he was getting old and out of touch, and while being spread too thin, and Tony's just out of touch, period. And he's not a relatable guy in any way, and socially he just doesn't, I don't think he knows how to like really connect with people, him personally, you know. And I get it, he's a great guy, he's a nice guy. How do you know you don't know him, Phil? I get all that, right? But I'm just telling you, like, if I knew, I've said it a billion times. Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of nice people we know, but it's not like they might be more introvert. Like, he's objectively awkward on the goddamn microphone. No, am I lying, chat? He's objectively an awkward guy, right? Am I just fucking talking out of my ass here? I don't think so. So, you mix that in with a lack of leadership, and then like he wants to be on camera and he thinks his creative ideas are great, and then he goes on Mark Maron and is like, I planned out this whole thing and then I flipped it upside down and now I'm doing it this way and I realized this is the way. Like, just shit like that is so kooky that and
the
it's
best
not,
guys, Tony Khan.
It's not kooky like, oh, you're an artistic genius, man, you're Kurt Cobain, like it worked. It's not like that. It's the opposite is happening. So it's like, hey, you might just be a goof fucking up who's got a lot of money and can do like vanity shit, and that's what you're going to keep doing, and you love pro wrestling, that's fine. But yeah, the reason WCW was better was like a lot of factors, but when it boils down to Bischoff versus Tony Khan, like Tony takes shots and Meltzer takes shots at all of these things that are outside of Eric Bischoff's. Like, WCW is going out of business regardless, period. Bischoff tried to save it. He tried to buy the shit because no matter what happened, it was going out of business, period. They were taking that shit off TV, off of their network or whatever anyways. So to be like, Tony would have kept it alive. No, he wouldn't have. The whole television landscape was different back then. It's just that simple. It would have been off the air. Didn't matter how much money he had. Ted Turner had infinite money. Bischoff had the money ready to get. It didn't matter. They didn't want it on TV. So Bischoff, like, they blame shit on Bischoff as well. They're in this war with a dead company, WCW, and I've been saying it. They're not even at war with fucking WWE anymore. They're more interested in like proving Bischoff wrong. His company's gone, bro. WCW's gone. It's owned by WWE. You guys are more interested with, oh, they beat the most profitable number 2. Bischoff was wrong, and so was Dutch Mantel. I don't know if you knew that. They're all wrong. Like, they're just pieces of shit, honestly. And people are just tired of it. And Tony Khan spread too thin is the point I'm making as well. That's why I brought up Vince. He's spread way too fucking thin, man. He's doing a billion things. Again, we beat this to death on the show, but it has to be said. It's the year review, right? He's spread so goddamn thin. You cannot expect him to have good creative. If he wasn't spread this thin, he wouldn't have good creative either. I truly believe that. I don't think he's a creative guy. I really don't. And Meltzer and the Mole both say that fucking Tony studied all the old WWF and ECW and WWE, and he's studying All Japan and New Japan and that stuff. And all right, buddy, that shit ain't working. Like, I don't know who's got to tell you what for you to get it through your head. Thank you for the super chat. And then Zarian Pfeiffer for 70 Czar, which I don't know. It's yellow, so I'll say it's $10. Fuck yeah, dude. Thank you so much. And I appreciate that. I'll give you a stone. If Tony Khan was booking WWE, Roman Reigns would have had matches against Cody, Punk, Fatu, Rollins, Orton, Gunther, and Drew on random shows to build up to a pay-per-view match against Solo. Exactly. He'd have gone through everyone, and not only that, you'd have seen Jacob fucking lose a tag match, and one of his opponents is like, how do you even like R-Truth? I guess I compare Cassidy to R-Truth, but R-Truth is like actually funny and actually clever, and isn't like, he understands he understands the assignment, as the kids say, right? He understands the role he's supposed to be playing. Cassidy doesn't. Like, I get it, dude. You want to get the ball, you want to run with it, and Tony's like, I want you to be in the main event. Your whole life you've been a wrestler, and you're like, fuck yeah, dude, I got to do this. You or someone's got to be like, okay, well, I got to stop doing the pocket thing then, Like, I got to completely shed that, right? Like, we got to do something, unless I'm just going to be like a funny, comical baby face and you make a cruiserweight division, or I'm like a tag champion with someone, right? If you want to be taken serious, we got to be serious, right? The Hurricane can do a spot in the Rumble where he grabs Triple H and Austin by the neck for a double choke slam, and then Austin and Triple H look at each other and throw his ass over the ropes. But he can be a dominant tag or cruiserweight champ, right? And it's not about like size. Oh, come on, Bret Hart was a small guy, Bryan Danielson, Shawn Michaels. I get it, but those are exceptions to the rule, right? Those are exceptions to the fucking rule. We don't design the world around exceptions, Not that we don't factor them into things, right? But we have to speak in generalities. Okay. Because that's how we formulate fucking data. That's how we solve problems and shit. You use generalities, you use math, you use these basic tools that people understand, right? Like truths that are irrefutable. So, yeah, I don't know, dude. To me, if Tony was booking WWE, that's his dream job. But if he was booking WWE, at least he'd have better toys to play with, but it would go to shit. Meltzer also said something about that, like, who knows if Shawn Michaels had AEW, it would do as well, or who knows? And it would, bro. If NXT was AEW, that'd be the littest show. I'd be saying it, But he was saying something like that today. I have a bookmarked where he's like, or yesterday maybe, where he was like, and maybe if Tony Khan ran the Federation, bro. And he didn't say the Federation. I'm saying that, but it's like, no, it would go to shit. There'd be no good creative. Yeah, if Tony just like owned it and didn't get involved and let everyone do their jobs, it would work fine. I'm harping on this so much. Thank you so much for the super chat. Mo Moon is a new member. Round of applause for members and super chatters. I'll drop a bomb for you. And let's continue along here. Corny throwing the fucking racket. Corny throwing the racket, dude. Hi Tony. Thank you for thank you for bringing my Wrestling Observer fan fiction to life, Tony Khan. Please, put it this way. Please have Osprey. Please have Osprey. Please have Will Osprey. Please have Will Osprey. Put it this way: in Japan on April 4th, 2021, at Genesis, Will Osprey won his first IWGP World Championship after he beat Kota Ibushi, and baby. Yes. So, please have Will Ospreay win the AEW World Title at Wembley. There's 6 stars for your troubles. Here's 6 stars for your troubles. Tweet 130,000 tweets.
Despite the confusing payoff of Tony, Nina, and Mariah sharing a 3-way kiss, the 5-star AEW press secretary strangled this match with praise the way Lenny, the slow adult from Of Mice and Men, strangled that wild rabbit he liked too much. Aging Dave Meltzer was jumped for another dumb take on the Bird app. With over 130,000 tweets, that's crazy, and thousands of bad takes, Dave has the highest bad take to tweet ratio on the entire South African Bird app. Dave Meltzer actually used the deflating payoff of Tony Storm versus Mina Shirakawa as a hill to die on to demonstrate AEW's great storytelling. That ending, which you can see just as easily by walking through a beaded curtain, is AEW's brilliant storytelling at work? No, David, it isn't. And that's not just me talking. That's the QTs and the replies talking. But Twitter isn't a real place. Having said that, YouTube, which is a very real place, just ask my bank account, has no shortage of comments that do not with Dave Meltzer. Quote, every time Dave Meltzer says something about AEW, it really just confirms to everyone that Dave Meltzer does not even have the slightest clue about what a story is. Quote,
no, he doesn't. He does not at all.
Well, the problem I've watched with Dave Meltzer is that he will praise AEW's storylines, but then refuses or just plain can't explain what the storyline actually is.
Because you can't. Swerve was saying this. I think that mine and Hangman's story was the greatest story in AEW history. What's the story? Someone explain to me what the story was. Please, start right now. And I'm not being facetious. Someone in chat try and explain the fucking story. What was it? What was the Swerve Hangman story? What was it about? You know? Oh, well, it's ongoing. It's wrestling. No, there's part 1s to movies. There's chapter 1s. There's ebbs and flows. There's endings and new beginnings. We can reopen stories that are once closed and do it all the time. So what's the actual story between Swerve and Hangman? Right? People will just explain things that happened. That's all they'll fucking do. And he's just vying, and this is the only thing they say, well, he's just wanting to prove he's the best. So he got infuriated when Swerve... Everyone in wrestling is trying to prove they're the best. We fucking know that. That's a given. That's every sport ever. Everyone's trying to win the chip. Okay. That's why wrestling's fun, because now we get to expand upon that. Okay. Tell me what the story is. You know, there isn't really one. They just did shit to each other, to each other's houses and shit. You know?
Dave doesn't want to lose his access.
There's more of a story between Swerve and Hangman and their fucking realtors than there is.
Nobody else wants to deal with him anymore. And finally, this one, which says Dave and Tony make people hate AEW, which came from Dave's own grandmother. I know, that's crazy. Even the alleged grandmother of the sandpaper-faced stuttering machine doesn't fuck with him. Even if you were to go to Dave's own comment section, those motherfuckers won't support him. Here's a comment from a recent rant about AEW's low ratings from Observer's YouTube channel. A video disliked over 1,200 times. I came for the excuses, wasn't disappointed. Even if you were to touch grass and find opinions IRL, Bryan Alvarez, AEW Vice Press Secretary and Dave's Mini-Me couldn't defend the storyline.
The story of, like, all of this, I know but this has not been my favorite story.
This ending had all the aura of the type of guy who brings a decibel counter to a wrestling show. But it was enough to convince Sling Blade Dave Meltzer that AEW has great storytelling.
I mean, I know we're in March, but promo of the year, that has to be promo of the year.
Now, Mina, okay, with Mariah and Tony, I can defend some of that shit, right? So, like, Mariah comes in sort of as Tony's protege, but then starts emulating her, and then Tony has like this mental breakdown and becomes this over the top like WWE like character. And even now with Tony Storm's return, her character is that she has like amnesia or some shit is what they're running with. Like she just blanked out all that timeless shit, and she'll obviously revert back to that eventually. And I think going forward, Tony will have this sort of dual thing that she could be timeless whenever, she could be normal Tony Storm whenever. I don't know. I think that's where they're going with it. But yeah, even the Mariah and Tony stuff, when Mina gets into it, it starts getting silly. And when Dave's like, 3 girls were kissing, anyone says there's no story is, yeah, it's like that's what Dave chooses to tweet about, you know, of everything that's going on in this. So I don't know. There's more to sink your teeth into, but all of these stories are elementary at best. You know what I mean?
I put it this way: it just has to be promo of the year, and nobody, nobody knows more than me when it comes to,
Christian Cage dazzled in 2023 with one promo after another exploiting real-life deaths. The type of exploitation of death that has won 6 different Observer Awards for most disgusting promotional tactic. Yet not only did Christian not win the award, he wasn't even an honorable mention. He didn't even appear in the others receiving votes category. In fact, despite openly mocking real-life deaths, not only was this not considered disgusting by the Lemmings Observer newsletter, Christian almost won Best Gimmick. I repeat, Christian Cage almost won a fake Observer Award for making light of real-life death. I don't know whether to laugh, cry, or just laugh when somebody dies, because apparently that's cool now. The uppity Observer audience has established a precedent for denigrating these types of promos as disgusting as recently as 2015. Now all of a sudden, Christian Cage, cutting more dead dad promos than anybody in history, gets the second most votes for Best Gimmick because what? The Observer audience is blindly loyal to AEW and thinks Tony Khan will pay for their sleep apnea machines?
And it's cringe now too, let's be honest. Like they keep beating it to death. Same with some of MJF shit. It's just been beat to death.
Dave saw a message board post estimating AEW's value at over $288 million. He got so lubricated with excitement that he didn't even bother to check any sources or vet the number. He just ran with it the way he runs to confrontation with deranged Twitter trolls. Turns out the post came from some random fan with too much time on their hands and probably way too many restraining orders to have a dating life. Dave then ran with this Discord estimate.
Hey, why is JD catching strays? Gabagool.
Like it was the Lord's Prayer and reported it as an internal memo from WBD. Once again, Dave became a laughingstock. Desperate Dave Meltzer deeply wants to be celebrated as a credible journalist who has no dog in the tribal wrestling wars. He's just a fair and honest reporter trying to do Walter Cronkite proud. Even though Dave's doled out more 5-star ratings to AEW matches in 5 years than he did to WWE in 70. Even though Tony Khan books his product to Dave's liking and Sling Blade Dave is
just again, like, he's the Observer. He's gone out there and said, no, I rate matches I don't like, whatever. He's given more 5 stars to AEW than he's given WWE in 70 years. He's given them more in only the last 1 or whatever the fuck Alfred said, 3 years or whatever. That's insane, man. And to pretend like you're not biased, like if that's just, you're just biased and you're like, no, this is my shit. Okay, cool. Right? But just don't freak out, like don't cope, because here's the thing too, if these sickos go, no, I just like the shit, I'm a sicko, rock on, man. Yeah, I know the ratings are down and I know you might not like the creative. Hey, I'm not defending the storylines either, it's not the best, but I just really love the fucking action in the ring. That's cool. But if you're like, oh yeah, I like wrestling when I watch my shit, actually, Like when you do that condescending goofball shit because you're actually bitter deep down. Nah, that's that sourpuss stuff that everyone's allowed to call out, you know, and there's more of that than there is people just being like, no, yeah, for real. Actually, just I enjoy this shit. Whatever. You do you. Yeah, no, the stories are pretty shit. Yeah, Tony's cringe, man, you know, but it's never that. They have to defend it all like a cult. And that's what Meltzer's not even explicitly said to do, but he's like trained these people to do. He's like, people lead by example, right? So he's just sort of taught a bunch of people that that's the way to go about this. And then Tony sort of backs that up. And then the wrestlers back that up because they know if they do, then they get millions of dollars from Tony. And then it just creates this weirdness. And it's driven fans away, you know? I think that's probably the biggest issue plaguing AEW as well, more than just the bad creative's number one, right? It's this guy on screen is number one, the problem. But Funaki, SmackDown, number one. Tony Khan, AEW, number one fuck up. But yeah, the second thing would be just that fan base really pushing people away with that condescending shit, you know?
Constantly mentioned on AEW TV. Even though Tony Khan is Dave Meltzer's apprentice, don't ever believe people like Dave Meltzer who want you to think they're just fair and balanced journalists. There's no such thing. That's like saying you're a cop who treats blacks as equal to the whites. Dave may have the personality of a robot, but at the end of the day, Dave is just a human being who is prone to the same human biases as us all. Unfortunately, Dave's bias has caused him to go off the deep end by simping for Tony Khan with inaccurate reports of an internal memo. Even Dave's little buddy WrestleNomics had to issue a public correction to Dave's message board monologue. Here's a quick clip. Please don't fall asleep.
Just to correct, I think, what's happening here. I have pointed this out.
Okay, wake up. That's right. Oops, Dave did it again. He made you believe in his bullshit journalism.
I love to break out in song too.
Oh, Davey.
Nobody knows more than me when it comes to when it comes to talking.
This is a man who prides himself on all these awards he wins for wrestling journalism, which tells you everything you need to know about the low bar that is wrestling journalism. I'll bet the people who give out awards for wrestling journalism are the same people who give awards for bravery among cats, or integrity awards for politicians, or black community awards to the police. Oh my God, what's this? You guys, I just won an award in wrestling journalism and I didn't even do shit. Thank you, Cauliflower Alley. You shouldn't have. Better call it Cauliflower Alfie. I have a couple of movies to do in the Tokyo Dome in Japan. So, put it this way. The LA might work, but it might not. But for WrestleMania main event, put it this way. If I don't have any movie obligation, maybe I can do LA. Maybe I can't. I'm not saying I can headline LA, but I'm not saying I can't. But how about this? Put it this way. Maybe I can headline Philly.
And it's still going on with The Rock. It's still going on. Everyone's like, well, he's not set to be there. Holy shit, man. You gotta be kidding me.
On the writer's strike? This nigga's starting to sound like Dwayne Meltzer. Dave's shit reporting came during the same week where he inaccurately reported off his death and had to apologize on air.
Yeah, I want to apologize, because I had mentioned it yesterday.
Well, I want to apologize because blah, 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 and then it's just going to be explaining away. So when you apologize, it's because you understood what you did wrong and you're not going to do it again. Or you're going to at least make the effort to consciously not do it again, right? That's when you apologize. That's what the realization should be when you do that. Dave will do the same thing again. It'll happen again. And he's like, I just want to apologize because I said this, because he'll just explain it away. Instead of just saying, I want to apologize. I fucked up. Yeah, I shouldn't have did that. Here's why. And I do understand that. And I hope it's all good type shit. We don't even need to be like, I'm sorry. Shame on me. Like, we don't even need that. It's just, he'll just skirt it though. Here we go.
When essentially, I don't want to get into big excuses, but, I had been told when I woke up yesterday, I saw the post from Sam, Samula, and other people, and saw that as he died, which in fact he was still alive at the.
Other people saw that as he died. Well, Dave, other people didn't report he died. You did. So who's other people? Why don't you name those other people so that we can it's not about like, oh, go shame them, but so that we understand what you mean. Like, so just random people on Twitter, your friend at the guy working at the deli. What the fuck? What other, some people thought him, like who? Like trolls on Twitter, like these other idiots who get news wrong. So you saw the tweet and other people took it as, well, he died. So I reported he died. Jesus.
Dummy. Yeah.
The time.
Wow.
One of Dave's many catchphrases, in addition to, put it this way, is you don't.
Not to make excuses, but other people. Tony Khan. Oh, man, what a gross guy.
Read. No, Dave, clearly you didn't read. You confused the message board posts for an internal memo from WBD. Dave Meltzer's faulty reporting is getting so hilariously bad, it's technically entertainment at this point. Like, how bad can this get?
Literally, PWT, let's fucking go. How bad can this get? Well, I'll tell you how bad this gets. You get a whole fucking emoji associated with you, bro. Flutes in the chat. You see that, Dave? That's what'll happen too.
Dave admitted defeat by
that's how entertainment it is. He's an emoji now.
Taking down his BS post about an internal memo and vowing to be back when AEW announces its new television deal, which is another story Dave will probably get wrong. Talking about, I apologize for reporting that, to put it this way, I apologize for saying that, Tony Khan and AEW signed a $10 billion deal with WBD. I don't know what happened with that report, but I'll try to do better. So let's go to our 2024 scorecard of Dave Meltzer fuck-ups. Dave claimed Okada to AEW wasn't confirmed, only to report it had been in the works for months. He was worked by Hangman Adam Page when he reported Page's ankle injury could be legit. He misreported that Tommy Dreamer was head of TNA Creative. Dave incorrectly reported WWE on Fox would be in lame duck mode. And not only did they load up the shows with The Rock during WrestleMania season, SmackDown had Stone Cold and The Rock, Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes on the same damn show. Does that sound like lame duck booking to you?
And possibly Stone Cold and The Rock. I've been saying it too. No one's talking about this. Okay, we have Tribal Combat on the first Raw on Netflix. Stone Cold, hello. Like, he's saying he'll show up at Mania. Why the fuck not? Have the glass shatter. You're going to do the first Raw on Netflix, not have Stone Cold possibly show up, and do what? I don't know. Hit a stunner and have a beer bash with Roman because he's super over now too. And they never really could do that proper, without the fans being like, fuck that, because they rejected Roman. Now they love Roman. I don't know. This is just an idea.
Dave Meltzer lied on Mike Johnson being denied access to WWE press conferences, which who gives a shit what member of the make-believe wrestling media gets to attend a make-believe WWE press conference? It's not that serious. Touch grass. Dave was wrong about WWE keeping Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns apart because Jacob Fatu just returned on SmackDown and murked the OTC. Dave lied about Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins being the main event for Money in the Bank. Dave misreported Alpha's death. He was wrong about WBD having an internal memo about
Remember that shit too? We covered it on the show. I saw an internal memo from WBD on the total value of AEW. $288,265,720 per year based on the revenue. This was a fake thing posted in a fucking Fightful Discord. I saw an internal memo. This guy's a goof.
AEW. He lied about Jack Perry apologizing to Tony Khan about his behavior, and then he hilariously confused the 2013 segment between The Rock and Triple H with their 2024 storyline before WrestleMania 40. If Dave was black, like if this was Damon Meltzer doing all these fuck-ups, his black ass would have been gone. Dave better thank his lucky 5 stars for all that privilege. Dave Meltzer is to journalism what James Ellsworth is to winning. The fact that Meltzer is able to keep his job despite getting shit wrong on the daily is more proof that nobody gives a shit about journalism anymore. This country is just too divided to know or care who or what an actual journalist is. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but we're in a tribal era where everybody has their own set of facts that they choose to believe. Those who pride themselves as self-righteous reporters either have 10 people watching their live streams or their asses get worked on a message.
It's true, dude. I mean, we were fucking going up against Zarian the one day. You had like 44 people. We had more. And I'm not like, haha, but I'm just saying, dude, when you fucking shill Shillington, people pick up on that, man. It's not like people are dumb. You can't treat people like they're fucking idiots, you know?
Board and forced into a retraction like dipshit Dave.
Unless they're Dave. You got to treat him like he's an idiot because he's a condescending prick who fucking literally is like, I'm smarter than everyone. I wrote the Bible of wrestling.
Yay, journalisms. A journalist is just a writer with no personality. And if you're Dave Meltzer, you don't have a personality or credibility. It's been a rough year for Dave Meltzer already. As Dave gets older, it won't get any better. From now on, anytime Dave says he has a report, I'm just going to sit back with popcorn and Reese's Pieces and enjoy the show.
Yep.
Because that's all any Dave Meltzer report is these days. Bullshit tailor-made.
Reese's Pieces with the caramel in them, dude. Is that good or no? I haven't tried it.
For a message board.
I'm Dave Meltzer, and of course, put it this way. Of course, one second. I'm Dave Meltzer, and of course, I put it this way. Of course, hold on, get my notes. I'm Dave Meltzer, and of course, where are you going, Osprey?
This comes the worn out Bullet Club shirt. I got one of those too, bro. We all do. It's all worn out and shit. Got that shit back in like 2014 or whatever, 2013. That's hilarious.
Press Secretary Dave Meltzer advised Team Tony to do just that as AEW's popularity shrinks the more Meltzerian the promotion becomes.
My new idea on what they should do, book 2,500 seat buildings.
Of course they need to move the smaller buildings. Look around.
I have this new brilliant
Meltzer is trying to.
I have this new brilliant idea that they should do. They should book smaller buildings. It's like, I remember I tweeted that out. Dave Meltzer listens to PWT and Phil Marks. Confirmed.
Spin it like some innovative idea to make their shows look hot. But this is just a matter of economics.
Yeah, dude.
And now it's time for a game of Are You Dumber Than a
And
Star?
Alfred, it's something everyone said a babillion fucking times. Run smaller buildings. Like, come on now.
Rating. Today's guest is Dave Meltzer, who likes wrestling but loves football. In fact, his favorite quarterback is
Patrick Mahomes was on the shows. When the show started, it was Patrick Mahomes. And, Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, I mean, he is the biggest star, or at least biggest sports star, because Patrick Mahomes was a total heel on the show. That's why Patrick Mahomes was there, because Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes.
And Mahomes has his.
And he also said, remember, well, he'll probably cover it. Meltzer tweeted out like, well, no, if I wasn't in wrestling, I'd be a top NFL reporter or whatever the fuck. Patrick Mahomes. Not even like Mahomes with an N, dude.
3 Super Bowl rings on.
Braun was going to attack Mahomes.
One of my favorite parts of this whole TV deal saga is Dave Meltzer staking what's left of his reputation to AEW limping its way to a TV deal. Even after the whole internal memo debacle, Dave posted to his incel message board like, AEW's gonna get a great TV deal, you'll see. Nick, and what does that have to do with Dave Meltzer being the pro wrestling version of InfoWars? Sling Blade Dave has one job. To uncharismatically report the news. And he spent 2024 screwing up that job by getting more stories wrong than public schools that banned the 1619 Project. No, David, you were not ahead of the curve by predicting that AEW was going to get more money from a desperate WBD. Anybody could have told you that. Between you and me, I recorded this video about AEW's TV deal months ago, which will explain the kind of dated Bryan Danielson references you're about to hear. Nobody is surprised AEW got paid by WB Desperate. And watching Dave Meltzer celebrate AEW's TV...
Yeah, no one's shocked. Like, their whole... WBD's whole existence... Like, people are talking, oh, is AEW going to be around? Fuck all that, man. WBD's whole existence is riding on this James Gunn Superman movie. I'm telling you guys that right now. Okay? Like they're fucking, we might see DC get sold off or something if this shit does not work. So it's not a matter of people ask, like, why did WBD give this money to AEW? Because they're fucking idiots. And Husey alleges, you know, he's heard around from who knows who. You guys, right? Where is it? I'll play it on the soundboard. But you know, Husey's come on the show and allegedly, right, that fucking like the Khans are funding this. Okay, like they put their own money into the fucking TV deals somehow. I don't know. I'm not gonna conspiracy theorize. I'll give myself an X-Files for that because I don't know. I'm not gonna try and guess how that works, but WBD is just not known for making the best fucking business decisions, especially in the last 5 years or so, you know?
Deal like he had anything to do with it. It's like watching the backup long snapper for the Jaguars talking trash after winning a division title.
Dave Meltzer is the Porky Pig of pro wrestling. He stuttered his way through a wrestling media career with an impressive resume of 100,000 500,000 1.2 million co-host interruptions, 2.3 billion interactions with trolls, and so many retractions that number hasn't even been invented yet. Despite using his message board as a safe space for Tony Khan, Dave Meltzer was passed up for his dream job as Tony Khan's assistant scheduler in 2023. But with AEW's budget increase, Dave
Jimmy B for $2 says, I'm really hoping Matt Reeves can help save DC too. Yeah, I mean, apparently that Penguin show rules ass. I've yet to watch it. I'm going to rewatch the Batman again for like the 4th or 5th time. I'm not the biggest of the Batman fan. Personally, that's a whole other discussion though. And yeah, if he's doing his own Batman universe and Elseworlds and all that, cool, but they need to stop and just reel it in for a minute, you know? That's all I'll say. This Superman thing could do that. Thanks for the super chat. And then this guy Powerline saying Alfred Konuwa sucks. He lives in a racial mental trap. I mean, yeah, or it could just be his perspective, bro. You know what I mean? People have different perspectives. Everyone has different walks of life, you know? So you want to try and be as objective as possible, and he might just have a different perspective than you. I don't think he feels trapped. He's out there getting it. You know, yeah, I don't know, man. He'll tell you. Listen to any pod I've done with him, and I think you'll see a different side of him. But hey, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and you're allowed to have yours on Alfred. But you got to admit he's fucking funny roasting Meltzer.
Meltzer's 5 years of glazing might pay off after all. Meltzer's influence on Tony Khan has led to an influx of random internet darlings at the top of the card, an AEW creative that comes second to Moves and Super Workers. As a result, casual viewers nationwide have been inspired to change their channels and even turn off their TVs in 2024.
It's a super match. There's Batman versus Superman. It's a super match.
Wrestling fans getting fresh air is at an all-time high on Wednesday nights. Dave Meltzer has a star ratings plan that'll triple 5-star matches for AEW, thereby reducing viewership by 50%, increasing excuses by 80%, and moving the whole product to 2,500-seat buildings. By the end of 2025, AEW live shows will take place for an audience of 1 in San Jose, California, in Dave Meltzer's dungeon, with AEW media freakoffs for Tony Khan's favorite podcasters. And if you don't like that, it's because you don't read, you don't learn, and you just don't study.
And you're poor and low IQ and watch WWE Tony Khan.
Study these nuts and vote Dave Meltzer for AEW head of creative.
People don't actually understand how low Dave Meltzer will go to protect AEW. The fake reporter / stuttering sicko talked Dutch Mantel's battle with sepsis, only to gush about Tony Khan and Chris Jericho publicly donating to Dutch's GoFundMe despite evil Dutch daring to criticize Tony Khan and AEW.
Using Dutch Mantel.
Here's the disgusting shit. Great refresher here as well. And here's the disgusting shit. Come on, like the other stuff we've already gone through wasn't gross enough. Piggy Meltzer had to fucking Porky Pig Meltzer had to do this, just go at Dutch or whatever. This little petty shit. Alfred's chronicled it here. I tried to break it down a little more. I am just obviously enjoying this video too as we go along. Alfred does great work, but you know, yeah, the Dutch stuff. I covered it on the show. Go and check out WSI Worked Shoot interviews on YouTube, and James here. And if you're not familiar with the whole Mantel thing, Alfred will break it down, but that was just the biggest L. And, I'm surprised Dave hasn't done. Do you guys think he surprises us one more time, before year's end? With one that's just mind-bogglingly, because there's a few. He's had a bit of a meltdown. We're going to cover on tomorrow's live show, PWT live show, Wednesday nights. Yeah. We're going to cover a lot of this coping he's been doing, but he never. The WCW thing was pretty egregious, though. I think the WCW thing would be a thing of the year if he didn't take so many big L's, rest in peace, throughout the year. Do you know what I mean? Some of these are so bad, and this Dutch one's so bad that I think the WCW one where he's Tony Khan would have ran WCW, I think that would have been the one of the year any other year, especially this late in the year, But because of this Dutch stuff and the Alpha stuff and the Rock stuff, it's just... Yeah, anyways.
With sepsis, only to gush about Tony Khan and Chris Jericho publicly donating to Dutch's GoFundMe despite evil Dutch daring to criticize Tony Khan and AEW.
Using Dutch Mantel's terrible health issues to score points in your own mind to further grind the axe. It's just the most pathetic, weaselly, fucking sad, sorry state of affairs.
Jim Cornette donated to Dutch too, but that wasn't in the report. Why? Because Jimmy made fun of divorceable Dave for loving message boards and trains more than his ex-wife?
And the way Dave worded it was the most notable donations were Chris Jericho and Tony Khan. But then meanwhile, Cornette, who has the number one pro wrestling podcast, the number 1 and 2 pro wrestling podcasts on planet Earth. 2 different shows, both number 1 and 2. And they probably change amongst each other. Jim Cornette helped revolutionize YouTube, was 10 steps ahead of YouTube. Brian Last, Travis Eckel, and Jim Cornette. Okay? Everyone's doing the clip fucking thing. They were 10 light years ahead of that shit. Okay? And Dave says the most notable people. I think Jim's still the most relevant, more notable than fucking Tony Khan is in wrestling right now. He has more of an influence. It's crazy, man. Tony books match types Jim invented, and Dave's just going to leave that out. Why? Because he said your star ratings are dumb? It's fucking crazy. And then also, why are we even talking about that? I hate that that's even the discussion. See, now I'm taking an L, even because that shouldn't even be the discussion. Why does any of that shit matter when it comes to Dutch's stuff? Because you want to stick your nose up at him. See, Tony helped you, even though you were critical of the product that I said was great. Just a scumbag. It's hard to really put into words.
Now is pursuing a second marriage with Tony Khan? Fuck out of here.
Here's some free advice for Tony if he wants it. He needs to cut off Dave Meltzer completely.
Marriage-ending message board Meltzer is madly in love with Mr. Khan and he was on his deathbed. Then the unthinkable happened because Dutch Mantel responded to Dave Meltzer's ass trash article about his GoFundMe.
But that kind of pissed me off. You can knock me, Dave, but you're knocking my family now. And that is a no-no almost in any business. I almost died. My wife almost died. I would just like to walk up on Meltzer and just slap the dog out.
Dutch has more than 50 followers, so it's unlikely Dave will respond. But if dirty... Dutch slapped the shit out of dirty little Dave and needed to raise money for
more than 50 followers, so Dave won't respond. That's hilarious.
For lawyers, would Tony Khan and Chris Jericho publicly donate to the cause after Dave
Perry Pack in Minecraft? Sorry, folks.
Meltzer did it again and again. The stuttering sicko spent another whole weekend screwing up stories, and I'm having trouble keeping up because, honestly, this so-called reporter is on a Hall of Fame run of fuck-ups. First, Dave reported that Nielsen has put an end to Fast Nationals, as if a global media data company has a vested interest in protecting AEW Twitter crybabies from preliminary numbers. The Fast Natties came out this weekend anyway.
The Fast Natties. Oh, man. That is hilarious fucking Kanua, man. The Fast Natties. Oh man, that's a great one.
Rampage was projected to do its lowest number ever. And guess what? Rampage ended up doing its lowest number ever. The .05 rating is pretty close to the numbers Rampage will be doing come 2025 when the show.
Yeah, and since Alfred made this video, I know I'm pausing a lot at the end here, but because now we're more like current, since he made that video, I think Rampage has topped their lowest as well. And I believe Collision has as well. So, I mean, how more spot on could you be?
Show gets canceled. Dupable Dave then posted a fake story about WWE running Backlash at the Tokyo Dome, only to get backlash for saying Backlash will be at the Tokyo Dome. Nope. Stay tuned for my top 10 Meltzer mistakes of 2024. It's going to be hard cutting it down to just 10 because...
And instead of 10, right? Instead of 10, my guy just broke it down to fucking every time he roasted him this year, basically put into one. So round of applause for Alfred Kunua for that one in Pro Wrestling Bits. I mean, just phenomenal. We're going to dive back into Phil Marks' bookmarks. We're going to dive back into these. And yeah, so that was awesome, chat. Let me check in with you guys. Let me see. Dave needs to learn you can't talk up a person without tearing down another, and there's a time and a place for things. Yeah. The lower one to raise another. Yeah, Meltzer really turned me off by his Dutch comments. Let's get them likes up. Yeah. For show, I barely get a response. You get a response from me, Mike Saucelys. I show Yoda all the time, goddammit. I'm a tribal queef. Okay, you guys are getting filthy now in the chat. Okay. As you guys can see, right, we have another video I want to watch with you guys because this is fun. I wanted to do something fun for this one. There's so much drama in the IWC. That's hard being Phil from PWT. So, wrestling shoot on Dave Meltzer. So here's another good one. We're going to share this tab here. We're going to big screen that thing there. We're going to hawk Tua on the big screen. No?
In the construction.
Okay. And yeah, let's watch this.
What do you think of Dave Meltzer?
So here's just a series of legends in pro wrestling just in general shitting on Dave for a little while. Let's react to some of these and refresh, take a trip down memory lane as we enter into 2025, which could be the final year of this nonsense. Like, who knows if Dave just loses his shit and is like, I'm going to Blue Sky or whatever. Maybe he just says, fuck it, Alvarez can do this thing. Maybe AEW blows up and Dave starts bragging and we get to cover braggadocious Dave. Who knows? But let's just take a little trip down memory lane. That was the year in review. Let's look at what people have had to say rather. See, Meltzer rubs off on you, dude. I swear to God, those Schaub-isms start creeping in. Those Meltzer-isms. So this was made 3 years ago. So pretty up to date, but of course, a bunch of people burying Meltzer over the years.
You brought his name up.
At one time, I was absolutely amazed because I've been at the highest levels at WCW, WWE, my promotion, TNA, Memphis, and at one time or another, at every one of those companies, the top brass has stood around and said, how does that son of a bitch know what's going on in a closed door meeting? I don't know. Somebody has to tell him. Well, there were only 3 of us there. Yeah, well, I didn't.
Well, because he's making shit up, Jerry Jarrett. R.I.P. legend, making shit up.
You didn't do it. He couldn't have our office wired down here in Titan.
See what Al Snow has to say.
No, they didn't.
No.
Dumb shit.
I'm trying to remember the card.
That is the problem. So everybody says that Steamboat and Savage had the best match on the show. They did not. Who sold the most?
I agree with Al Snow here. To me, dude, like, Hogan, Andre, and those sorts of like moment matches to me have always like, to me, I love Hogan. I agree with CVV. I agree with Cody Rhodes. Hogan, Rock, WrestleMania 18 is like the greatest match of all time. Why? Because it just epitomizes what pro wrestling is. It's two guys who are fucking larger than life, and the people are so invested in them that half are booing one guy and half are cheering him, and half are booing the one guy and half are cheering. And then throughout the match, you believe in both of these guys so much and you want to, that fucking they barely have to do anything, but the stuff they do the stuff they do is so good that you know what I mean? It means so much more. Like they barely even had to fucking touch. They just had to look around the arena, and we're so invested in these people that just the moment of them looking around and the end of the match and all of that. And the story they told building up to it, obviously. But to me, I'm one of those guys. Like, those matches mean the most to me, personally. Roman Cody, WrestleMania at the last Mania. That shit was just story and characters and all this shit we care about. Member berries and everything we wanted, you know? It was like a fucking Avengers movie, right? That's... to me, that's the cream of the crop. You know, all the moves and shit is great, but that's what keeps the people entertained to get to that thing they paid to see anyways. Al Snow actually has been there and done that, so let's hear him talk about it. But I'm just marking out here, okay? I'm allowed to do that. It's my show.
Okay, Hogan. Andre.
Oh, wow. Hogan and Andre. 93,000 people paid to see Hogan and Andre. 93,000 people, as great as Savage and Steamboat were, did not pay to see Savage and Steamboat. Therefore, who had the best?
Speaking of Meltzer, 93,000's fake, but he won't dare question if Tony Khan had a fake fucking house on his thing. You know, that's the funniest thing ever, too. He's held on to that forever, but he won't dare question
the best guys, Tony Khan.
Yeah.
Best match on the show.
They're the most important match on the show.
No, they had the best match, because if they hadn't had that match, there wouldn't be a business for you and I to continue to talk about. That's the truth. 93,000 people paid to see them. That makes it unequivocally the best match.
And you think because of the attention people paid to the Steamboat match and attributed that to be the best match?
I know, because Dave Meltzer, who is without a doubt the greatest worker ever in the history of the wrestling business. Dave Meltzer is the greatest. I'm not saying this in a negative fashion. Worker meaning connotation that he's a con man. To be able to put over a con, a fake, a lie, is that he has been able to make six-figure incomes off a business that most people can't even derive a living off of, and have been able to do it for years.
It's true. Got to give him credit for
business
that.
He's never done. He's entitled to his opinion. Certainly, you pay your money to buy a ticket, you're certainly entitled to your opinion. But when you've never, ever, not taken a bump or done something physically, but you've never done it to where you now have to rely on what your actions do to be able to feed your family, how do you have the experience to quantify you as an expert? To the point to where people within the wrestling business now take his opinion as gospel, and if anything of a newsworthy event or anything of note happens, well, you're not going to contact Bruno Sammartino or even lunatic Bill Apter or Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan or Randy Savage or Rick Steamboat. Randy Savage's father did it for how many years? Steamboat, Savage has done it for how many years? His brother did it for how many years? You're not going to call them people. You're going to call Dave Meltzer. Well, that makes complete sense.
Yeah, and then it all went to shit when the wrestlers started like stooging to him to like try and get favorable coverage, then it just fucking went downhill too.
See, that's like,
because then they cater to his style, bro. And it's like, who the fuck is this guy?
And I, okay, if you broke your leg right today, heaven forbid, would you go to the doctor and tell the doctor how to fix your leg?
Tell him how?
Yeah, no. Why not? You're not a doctor. You've never went to medical school, and on top of that, you've never done any residency training. Why do they make doctors do residency training? Oh, a little thing called experience, so that way they can actually understand what it is that they learned. Fascinating concept, I know. But you can go on WebMD, you can buy tons of anatomy books, you can read the New England Journal of Medical Science, and you can understand medicine. You've never practiced it, But does that entitle you to now tell a doctor how to do his job?
But does that preclude Dave Meltzer, or I don't want to pick on Dave, anybody,
No, pick on Dave.
Viewer from having an opinion
Not at
on
all.
a product they've
Not
paid
at all.
for?
They are more than welcome to have their opinion.
Yeah, just don't say you're a goddamn expert, you know?
Then they are entitled to it. Absolutely. Absolutely, totally entitled to it. Completely. Does that make them have an understanding and a grasp of it more than a person who has had the actual experience of doing it? Certainly not.
Baines forgot his
Here's Jerry
lines.
Lawler.
Cena stepping in, and there was some, dueling ad libs back and forth, but this was a scripted promo. I'm sure something like this has to be approved because
because Dave Meltzer knows everything. Dave Meltzer.
We'll get into
little dweeby.
We'll get into Dave Meltzer very shortly. How does WWE / the Superstars Wrestling view the dirt sheets / wrestling quote unquote journalists like Dave Meltzer and whatnot?
Like Dave Meltzer and myself and what? No, I'm just joking. But the guy asking the question, it's like, so like you?
Yeah, they're not fond of him, as you can imagine. And I think probably the reason they're not fond of him is because when those guys get the information that they get, which is always inside information that spoils the fun of what somebody is in the WWE is trying to put out there for the fans. That what the WWE has to realize is there's somebody, some rat, some mole on the inside that's working, that's on the payroll for the WWE that is giving the information to these guys. I mean, to these dirt sheets and to these Meltzers and guys like that. That's the only way that they can get that information. And so that's frustrating, and that's hard to deal with, and
so they figured out we purposefully leak fake shit, and then after whatever we need to get done gets done, then we'll tell them all the information they need to know. So it's like when CM Punk came back, no one knew, right? No one knew unless you fucking trained with him and fucking knew people who were training with him, cough, cough, but nobody actually knew he's coming back. Quote unquote, the dirt sheets. And then as soon as he comes back that night, every dirt sheet's got the inside scoop on fucking his return and everything. Well, yeah, because they told y'all he wasn't. They kept it secret. They didn't just remix that fucking song and get his graphics made and everything, even if it was overnight. It's like, that all takes time, bro. That all took planning. Punk went and got in super good shape, got that nice haircut. Oh, yeah, I didn't know. I just got this new haircut for the first time ever. And I'm just going to come out like, I had no idea. I just showed up. Like, no, it didn't go down that way. They just told you all. It's same with this, The Rock shit. No, we don't think The Rock's going to be there. And then you guys say he's not going to be there. So then when he shows up, it fucking actually pops a rating and people care. Unlike AEW where Meltzer's like, yeah, well, Edge is pretty much coming in. Oh, yeah, he's going to scoop up the herpes. They're coming in. He couldn't wait to stooge Danielson. Well, Tony Khan will give him the better thing. I mean, it's likely just signed with Khan. Why stooge all that? It's stupid.
That would make anybody upset.
It just ruins it for everyone. That's the whole fucking thing when you're marking out for your own shit. So, and like not in a sarcastic, like an obviously ironic way, So Dave starts marking out when AEW is about to bring people in and shit. It stooges it. And in WWE, they try and do the opposite. They don't want what's going on to get out there. In AEW, the wrestlers can't wait to come out and be like, actually, QT's like, actually, no, behind the scenes, CM Punk told me that I was actually one of, what the fuck, man, No chill. And like Dave is down with it and he's a part of that,
If you and I were sitting down and for weeks writing some kind of a script for a movie or a TV show or something like that, and it's going to be a big surprise to the public, and then I find out that, or you go out and leak it out to somebody that writes it, that puts it in a newspaper article, and so that everybody can see it before it comes out. It just spoils the fun of everything. And I'd be really disappointed in you if you leak that information out. And that's what goes on with these dirt sheet guys. They're just there as, I've never understood their purpose. They're really 99% of them are people who are not athletes, have never been in the business. They can't really respect the business or even like the business of wrestling, or they wouldn't do that. I mean, we all know it's entertainment, and when you're watching,
and that's why we play goddamn X-Files here, folks. Okay, because we don't know. It's all allegedly, right? We don't know. The truth is out there, right? Just Dave doesn't have it.
A TV show or a movie, and you just start watching it. If somebody comes along and tells you how it ends or what's going to happen in the show before it happens, that's spoiling it for you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they call it spoilers. And that's all these guys are about. That's what they live to do. And I never could understand.
Yeah. It's fun to speculate on. It's like superheroes. Like for me, I'm younger, reading comic books. We fucking debate who would kick whose ass, or even that was a little bit before, I grew up with the internet and stuff, but even that, like forums, message boards, all that shit, and just like nodq.com or whatever, you're looking up, chatting with people about like, oh, do you think this person or whatever, and you saw sort of that turn where everybody got smart. But I was kind of in it too. Like I kind of identified in hindsight. At the time, I didn't really understand that's what was happening, I didn't know the difference. I just kind of always accepted wrestling for sort of what it was. But yeah, like we all started marking out for that stuff and then getting addicted to like, well, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then it became a culture and an era of like oversharing and who can be first to just say shit, whether it's right or wrong, just so they can be the first, whether it's right or wrong. People have no shame. There's accounts out there that get fucking community noted once a day for just zero shame, just put whatever out there. So it just went to an extreme. It used to be like, we don't want the curtain pulled back. That's what makes wrestling great. Then it was like, well, I kind of want to know, or like, is this guy coming in, or Eddie was in Ring of Honor. What the fuck's up with that? Like what's going on here? What happened at that house show? Damn, I can get the results now. Just like that shit. And then it became like, okay, who's coming back? Who's returning? Blah, 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 blah. And part of the fun of wrestling is like sort of debating what you think the storyline would be. Like I love fantasy Phil Marks book and the shit. You guys know that. Do it all the time. We hit the X-Files and we go, look, if I had the pencil, I'd do this, this, and that. Yeah. I don't know. Dave for some reason can't just say that. He can't. He just wants to be like, my ratings are objective, and even though my ratings are like a Richter scale, so they're infinite, and I'm gonna fucking stooge everything and spoil it for everyone, because what's the fun in fucking just watching the show? Well, if you don't like it, don't look it up. Fair, But even back in the day, a TV show would come out. You didn't fucking go on MSN Messenger, or you didn't walk down the street and someone tells you the spoiler. Now you go online. Everyone wants to know what the dirt sheets are saying. Everyone wants to know if the injury's a work or a shoot. And yeah. Let's continue along here.
Understand them, and I never liked them or had respect for them.
Would you call Meltzer a little dweeb? Is that what you said earlier?
Yeah.
So you don't like Meltzer at all, or just
no, not at all. But I'm never around him. I never see him or talk to him or anything. But I just don't like what he does.
But somebody has to be talking. I mean, has WWE ever done some stuff to find out who the leak is? Do they really care about that kind of stuff? Or
well, yeah, they care about it. Sure, they do. But it's I guess when you got so many people working for you, it's hard to find who does that stuff. But then I don't know. Then I think JR has done shows with Meltzer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people aren't going to turn down a payday. You can't expect them to do that, or like use the platform or whatever. It's not like he's gone on there and sold you out or anything, Jerry, or like he's going there with the intention to leak to Meltzer. You know?
I mean, I think people want to know the behind the scenes stuff because of.
Let's see what Honky Tonk Man's
Of the
got to
dirt
say.
sheets. I check the internet. I do not watch wrestling, Willie.
Okay, before we get into Honky Tonk Man, hold on a second. Shadow Bat Ash for $50.
The best
Holy
guys, Tony
shit.
Khan.
You fucking mark.
No, I love it. No, thank you so much. That's amazing. Meltzer's star ratings caters and rewards specific styles. Fast, speedy, athletic flips. You know, we already know what style you're talking about. It's at a point where the wrestlers themselves, some who read the Observer, here, I'm going to play fucking Halloween music. No, it's Christmas time. Do we do? No, okay. I was going to play Creeper Halloween music, but to change up their style to cater to it. Yes, you nailed it. I was saying that before. Too many wrestlers work identical to Ospreay and Omega, causing no variety. You hit the nail on the head, and that's actually what I was saying during the Alfred thing. I think I was trying to articulate that, but I was also engulfed in what he was saying. It's like with the whole Ospreay thing, like I was saying, you know, if you described, okay, a blonde guy, kind of curly hair, he does like really sweet flips, he wears green shit and kick pads, like that's Ospreay, no? But that's also Action Andretti. But that could also be fucking Kyle Fletcher for a little while till he shaved his head, right? So there's too much of that in AEW. There's fucking people with the same names and stuff. I get it. You go to WWE, you got to switch your name up, but it's like, do you want your own identity, or do you want to be like compared to or constantly called this other thing, you know, or, you know, you're on the bill with this other person. We need everyone to have their own identities. So you're exactly right. Again, I bring up the Nathan Frazier thing because lately I covered it on the last show. He's just been like, you know, Nathan Frazier should go to AEW. I just really figured, man, he should be in AEW. And it's like, why? You won't see him wrestle, Dave. You like him because he wrestles good. Yeah, but he's really fast and athletic, unlike anything else. Yeah, unlike anything else in WWE. If he goes to AEW, you're going to do Frazier versus Leo Rush, and then everyone's going to go, what's special about Frazier? Leo Rush is just as fast as him. You're going to do fucking Frazier versus Ospreay, and Osprey's way taller than him and is going to do a crazier tope, whatever the fuck. And then people are going to go, well, who cares if he does it? So, yeah, they can't. That's the thing that needs to get drilled into people's heads. I think that Dave can't accept. It equals no variety. Too much of the variety equals no variety at the same time. If you have too many, like, okay, because they always like to say this too, AEW is fucking a variety of everything. I think that's more WWE. I think WWE caters to the American style, but then you get the best lucha shit. You get the best fast flying guy. You get the best, you know, shoot fighter style guy, whatever. But everyone has their own identity and style for the most part, you know? And I think if you like pull up to a drive-through menu, or imagine you go somewhere and people give you like 5 million options, it's hard to pick one. You guys know what I mean, right? You walk in and it's like, do you want dipping sauce? Yeah, what kind do you got? They read you 15 flavors. You're like, well, this one, what's the difference between garlic aioli and honey garlic or whatever the fuck, you know? You guys get what I'm saying. What's the difference between mild hot and mild buffalo hot or whatever the fuck, you know? You're just sitting there like mesquite or honey barbecue. What's the fucking difference? You get all these options and then it becomes I don't know. What you want to do is give people the illusion of option, right? As George Carlin would say. You want to give them like 3, like there's one Rey Mysterio, there's a Dragon Lee, right? But Rey's still there. He's prominently featured. In AEW, it's like, why bring in all these like, why bring in a commander when you got Rey Fenix there the whole time? You're just shelving him, right? That's the point that I'm trying to get across here. It's too much of the same guys are going to equal no one special, and too much of the same style of wrestling is going to equal no matches special. And as Dave Meltzer said with the Mina Shirakawa shit, it was just another match to me. Yeah, well, it shouldn't be another match to you. If it's another match to you, if it's just another match, then every match is just another match. And until they can admit that, but they won't admit that, that's like an excuse to them. It's like you have to burst that bubble. And I wish Alvarez said that to fucking Meltzer. He has to. Well, he did. He tried to say you should care about matches and stuff like that. But yeah, it's what you said. And if you're seeing it, Nathan Frazier is getting 4.75 stars. Nathan Frazier's greater than Kurt Angle. 5-star tag matches against fucking, who was that? Damon Kemp or what? I don't even know who he's wrestling. It's like, and I'm just being an asshole. I know, right? Dude was in the N1 and all that, but I'm just saying, like, he has to get realistic about it. It'll never happen. It'll never happen. And as long as Tony rewards people who are fast, okay, guys, get your speed up. Black Label Pro had the first ever pro wrestling combine, and I think, who was it? Who's married to Emma? What's that guy's name? Riddick Moss or whatever? Is that even a wrestler's name? You guys know who I'm talking about. The guy married to Emma. He was the fastest guy to hit the ropes. He beat Moose and shit on running the ropes. He beat Jake Hager and shit running the ropes. Hey, Dave's saying you'll get a lucrative deal. You're fast. You know, it's bullshit. Thank you so much, though. I really fucking appreciate your contribution to the show.
Best guys, Tony Khan.
And then Plenty and Pixel Art and Shadow Badass, of course, always here. And of course, Plenty and Pixel Art is always here too. For $2, stop insulting my Richter scale, Dave. Yeah.
Thank you, fuck you, bye, boom.
And just the infinity thing too, where he's like, "Oh, they're like earthquakes." You know? No, dude, you stole this thing from Jim Cornette and then you just bastardized it. Exactly. Stop insulting my Richter scale. Stop insulting earthquake survivors, Dave. Stop insulting our fucking intelligence. Stop insulting Plenty and Pixel Art and Shadow Bat Ash, and stop insulting Honky Tonk Man. Chat, round of applause for our super chatters, though. Amazing. And let's get back into this video. Hang out with you guys for a bit longer here for sure.
I do not watch any wrestling shows, but I do read.
And someone in the chat was saying this video's old. Yeah, we know, dude. We're just going over it. It's a year in review. This is just a fun. This is a light show. We're having fun today. You know, we've had such serious run-ins sometimes. It's like we got to balance them with some funny ones. So, yeah, this is a funny one to end the year. You know what I mean? And PWT Christmas show is going to be on Wednesday, guys. Tune in on the 25th. It's going to be fucking awesome. And I have a Christmas show planned. It's going to be great. And yeah, we'll try and do it at a time where hopefully everyone can tune in like the evening. Yeah, that sound good, chat? Let me know.
3 or 4 web pages that I think have legitimate, truthful reporting. Many years ago, there was so much shit, untruthful. Now the web pages are very much.
The guy censors the word bull and not the word shit. Hey, that guy's a beep fucker.
More truthful, so I get the inside dirt, but I don't watch wrestling. I don't even want to watch a wrestling show.
Did they get?
I don't even watch a wrestling match.
No federation.
I don't watch any wrestling. I don't want to be poisoned. Because, see, there's a thing that I do that's unique to me that I do not want to go out there and go, hey, I want to be like the Hardy Boys. I want to go kill my.
Oh, come on now, Honky Tonk Man. That's not very fair.
Oh, come on now, Eric.
To sit there and try and throw the Hardy Boys under the bus. Well, golly gee, Honky Tonk Man. It's funny, too, because they wrote the Honky Talk Man. Is that purposeful or is that a botch?
Did you ever see the sheets get passed around the locker rooms? Was that true?
No, never.
Never? No.
They weren't allowed.
Did Meltzer ever give the Hardy Boys 5 stars, though, either? I don't even think he did.
What's your opinion of some of the guys like Meltzer?
Kind
of pioneered the deal.
Well, when you start rating somebody on your own personal level, going, he was 2 stars. He was 1.5 stars. Oh, he was a 4-star. Where do you base that criteria? Where do you say, without being biased, that was a -3-star match, but then so-and-so who I like, he's 4-star.
And also, like, not every match on a card is supposed to be 5-star matches, too. That defeats the whole purpose. Like, no, the opener match is gonna be like a solid 4 to 7 minute 8-minute match, and then you have a fucking like maybe a comedy spot, not like comedy Orange Pockets Cassidy, but like a quick squash or something, like something funny happens, whatever, something backstage crazy, and then there's and then it all builds up to like the main event is this banger, or maybe at the top of the hour you have like this banger match, and then the second half of the show story. I mean, that's all up to formatting and all that, but ultimately though, like the whole card can never be like to go and be like, oh, Chelsea Green had this 4-minute match to get across this thing, whatever. That's a 2-star. Why though? Like, did it serve its purpose for the rest of the show? Because that's what they're doing, right? They're all working together. It's not like, yes, they're out there trying to show they're the best as individuals and compete with each other and show why they deserve the most money or to be the champion, of course. But as far as like the machine moving and operating and everyone getting a bigger payday, everyone gets it. But Dave is, I mean, and it's fine. Rate matches. Like we all go, yeah, I kind of like this one, whatever. We give a grade at the end of the PLE. I'm always like, yeah, I give it like a fucking a B- or whatever, we grade it and we're allowed to do that. But ultimately though, if your mentality going into a show is like every match should be 5 stars, then it just, none of them are 5 stars. That just doesn't make sense. And I think it should be more like event based. What did the event do? Oh, this one match kind of fucking sucked. Okay, but like, was it the key main match that's carrying the whole fucking, or right? Like when the bloodline botch up and fuck up, it's forgiven quickly, but it's more glaring because it's so good. But like, how can you say, oh, the match that opened the fucking Raw where John Cena and Stone Cold and The Rock return or whatever is supposed to even be comparable to the main event or whatever? It's just silliness anyways, like just based on principle, just as a thing to do, unless you're saying like, yes, based on solely just the moves and the in-ring action, here's my star rating. But Dave doesn't do that. But he also won't admit that he doesn't factor in build or anything like that. He claims he does. But then it's like, well, then how is this? Then like Rock Hogan should be better than this match. Well, no, the actual physicality of the match. So which is it? And if you want to grade just based on like, yes, the athleticism displayed in this match versus like what actually makes a good match, which I think a lot of what makes a good match is the shit that happens before the fucking match and around the match, Oh, but the match itself, okay, that's great. Ask any UFC fan if the shit talk leading up to the fight isn't just as good. Yeah, but if the fight doesn't deliver, sure. But WWE matches typically always deliver. And the ones that quote unquote under deliver in people's minds are just like the supporting match. They're supposed to under deliver so that the fucking main event can what everyone paid to see can over deliver. You know what I mean? Jesus fucking Christ. You didn't see people slamming giants leading up to Hogan slamming Andre at WrestleMania, because then Hogan slamming a fucking giant wouldn't matter. So if there's 15 dives and blood before the main event, then when they do a dive and some blood in the main event, people don't give a fuck. When there's a bunch of run-ins every fucking match, people don't care. When there's, a big run-in at the end and you're trying to tell a story, no one gives a fuck,
That's all. And this is where Meltzer lost credibility with all.
Fucking Honky Tonk Man can't even say credibility, dude. Mike Sausalez has been, and I'm sorry, is Honky Tonk Man still with us? God bless him. And if, I don't mean to, I believe he's still with us, right, folks? I'm not trying to be cracking a joke here, guys. Okay, it's a comedy show. Hey, come on now, Phil. Don't be so hard on the greatest wrestling journalist of all time, my hero, Dave Meltzer. He never gets things wrong. And by gosh, I mean, it's insane to say a healthy AEW isn't good for the wrestling business, Eric. And it's also insane to say that if you go to bluechew.com right now and use promo code PWT, no, I wish. Fucking pay me for these. We need to get PWT a sponsorship. I'll do them all as Conrad Thompson, I promise.
All the guys. And he's never regained it. No one believes.
Mark's tickets.
Let's hear what Disco's got to say.
AEW contract.
Shout out K100. Shout out Feeney. Shout out Husey. Shout out Conan. And shout out Disco for sure. Those are good folk. Those are our allies over here. You know what I mean?
Sure, everyone has seen the fake leaked AEW payroll list, which had Meltzer's name on it. Where also the total bill is listed on it too. All the marks took is 100% fact. So I have to ask, well, that was clearly fake news. You think that personally that Meltzer's working for AEW? I mean, the guy makes excuse after excuse after excuse for them when something goes badly, and he's never in the entire year AEW's been around reported a single AEW spoiler yet. But yet for WWE, Meltzer's trying to spoil every possible reveal. I don't know if Dave needs the money because he makes a fortune with the Observer now, doesn't he? What's his net worth? Joe, look this up. Look up Dave Meltzer's net worth.
Well,
because he's got to be worth a fortune.
I'm going to look up his net worth, but let's face it, it's a $10.99 subscription. How many people do you think subscribe to the website and the paper version? How many?
I have no idea. I don't know. What can I guess? How can I make an educated guess?
That's how I'm saying. Guess.
Shit, 5,000.
5,000? You think it's just 5,000?
More than that. It's got to be way more than that, right?
There's
Cody. Do you know this answer?
No.
There's no net worth for Meltzer on. Oh well, actually, there's one that says he's a net worth of 1.9 million.
No, well, bro, here's the thing.
Dave has almost 2 million. Let's assume he made 2 million off this shit. That's crazy. Let's go. We can get there, chat. Come on, let's go. For real. It's like, Jesus Christ. No wonder. And this is the thing, right? He's old and he's going out. It's like, why not schmooze up to the billionaire? I kind of get it. I almost feel like Dave is purposefully doing that because he knows Tony will just break him off a milli sometime. Or people were saying NDAs. It's not that, because if he paid him and then it's like, just sign an NDA so you don't tell anyone, you wouldn't even have to do that. Dave just wouldn't tell anyone. You know what I mean? He wouldn't stooge it because it would just discredit him,
Cheat guys.
And here's the thing, and I don't mean to keep pausing it, but or it's like, hey, Dave, private plane. I'll take you to the best restaurant. You're friends with this billionaire. He's doing cool shit, taking you, buying you shit, sending you Dave gifts and stuff to his home. And I'm sure it's that too. So whereas Sean Ross Sapp has to settle for cheeses from WWE. If that was real, Meltzer's getting more than cheeses, bro. You know what I mean?
CNN and MSNBC, the podcast guys like us, Cornette, Russo, these other guys and stuff, we're like Fox News. Okay, there's just two completely different narratives, right? The dirt sheet guys are rooting for AEW, and then they're we on the other hand are analyzing AEW every week. Okay, we're doing this as analysts. We're looking at everything and we're calling it like we see it. There's no way those guys on some of the things that they're putting over in AEW just make them look like complete hypocrites. Okay, because they're bury stuff in WWE. Something happens to AEW, it's great. WWE, it stinks. And it's just and this is ultimately the problem with both of the shows these days. Okay, is that when let me ask you, Conan, you have your universe that you create in AAA. Okay, basically the premise of your show. What's real, what's not. You're trying to create a universe with a suspension of disbelief where the fans are accepting it as real. And they want to really be involved in the stories. They want to think people are really fighting, then disbelief. Both AEW and WWE have created these weird universes where it just does not seem the reality exists from one segment to the next. You're doing cinematic stuff. You're doing campy scripted comedy, and you're doing like Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, which is very real. And you're doing stuff like the Dominic Mysterio stuff, which is kind of real and everything, in the middle of all the other stuff, which does not fit in with the tone of those.
And do y'all remember when WCW came out and that was a big thing? No, it's real. They're going to use their real names and be whatever. So WWE has blended it perfectly to where, okay, we accept they have these stage names, but they blend the real stuff, the Seth Punk stuff. That's all real about how Punk ghosted everyone, the Drew stuff that he's doing on Busted Open, the whole bloodline, that's real stuff. So yeah, they're using work gimmick names, and fucking low IQ plebeians like Dave Meltzer can't wrap his head around, it's like Texas Tornado, it's like the Red Rooster. It's all just fake, phony stuff. But at AEW, they pick their own. They do their own creative. It's better. So in AEW, it's just cheesy, hokey, like bad wannabe sports entertainment stuff. And then they try and just go, well, they do the best wrestling. But that's entirely if you want to make the argument, what's better wrestling objectively, we can do that by just looking at what's the more popular shit, and we can go, okay, that's clearly the better stuff because more people who enjoy pro wrestling enjoy this form of it, right? And or if you want to take it to subjectivity, that's fine, but then you can't argue that, because then I could just say any match is my favorite match ever, and you can't argue that because it's just my subjective opinion, So ultimately, I think either way, AEW loses that debate.
Those angles. Same thing in AEW. You're doing some angles. The Cody stuff is real. Everything else is based on comedy and everything. But the one thing I see with these WWE, what these writers do, is they're criticizing the WWE on their universe, and they give a pass to AEW on their universe.
Right.
But both shows have created these weird, nonsensical universes. Both of them. And it's like you're giving one a pass, you're criticizing one, you're accepting the other. Bro, there's no way that you can criticize WWE for being corny, stupid, and everything, and at the same time, put over the Jericho musical spot that he did, which is like, if you're criticizing anything in WWE, you have to criticize that, because that just went off the map with reality. You just did. We're doing a fake wrestling show in the middle of this and admitting it, So it's like the fact that they defend stuff like that and criticize WWE is very obvious to a lot of people. It's obvious to me. What do you think?
I don't read enough of whoever you're talking about to be able to make a statement. So I don't know about what you're talking about, but I do know this. Not too long ago, I had read something from you, because we kept getting all these letters from people that were saying, oh, Meltzer, he's always on AEW's nutsack and blah, blah, blah. And then one day I read you all this stuff that Meltzer said about AEW he didn't like.
Yeah.
So he does write stuff he doesn't like. That's for sure, because I read it myself.
Right. Absolutely.
Now, what I do think is that maybe, he has friends in AEW that he personally likes, or they give him information, or, bro, you got a team that named a move after you. How much more cool is that in the business you work in? So he's not going to bury those guys.
Yeah, Conan's absolutely right on that.
Because maybe they're his friends. I don't know. I can't get into his head. But what's basically the question? Because I'm not even sure what the question is.
Is Meltzer getting paid by AEW? Now, he doesn't need he's not. I just think he's just that much of a fan for their stuff, and that much of a fan of those guys.
Tell me if you think I'm right about this. When I look at Dave Meltzer, remember that guy we had on our show, John Arezzi?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like he was back.
John Arezzi. Why does that ring a bell? Chat? Pablo, the real one, for $5 says, oh, come on now, Phil, chat me up. Well, hold on a second there. Pablo, the real one?
Oh, come on now, Eric.
You don't want to be the next Meltzer. He follows balding twins and sticks his tongue out to nerdy flippy wrestlers. Yeah, dude, listen. I'm saying, like, we can get there as far as, like, I'm saying, listen, if this guy can fucking rob, I'm literally, as we're listening to this video, I'm reading Meltzer said what on Twitter, and he's talking about how Meltzer robbed $10 from a fucking listener or whatever. And I'm like, man, if this stooge can make $1 million empires, we can all fucking do that, chat. That's what I was saying. Like, we don't want to be Meltzers and report fake news. I don't ever want to do that. That's cringe. I want to fucking just react to the stuff. And then if Husey wants to come on and be like, hey, allegedly, hey, that's cool too. I'm down. You guys want to come and leak shit on it? I'm cool. I don't give a fuck. But yeah, I just like to do my thing the way I do it. And so, no, I'd never fucking shill like Meltzer. That could never happen, Like, if AEW approached me and was like, we'll give you $5 million to make a pro AEW show. Okay, cool, but it's not called Pro Wrestle Times, and I'm going to talk about what I like, I guess. It's going to be a 12-minute show, you know what I mean? I'm going to point out the two things I like, but like, okay, but it's not going to be PWT. So, yeah, I don't know. Meltzer, whether he's signing NDAs or not, or like Conan saying, oh, does he have friends? I don't know. He does. named a fucking move. They named a move after him. Oh, actually, it's called the Tony Khan driver now. Either way, yeah. But thank you for checking me, Pablo, the real one. That's why you're a real one, and that's why the PWT universe is the top pod universe, because you guys will check my ass when I start becoming Phil the Shill. I truly have faith and believe that. John Arezzi, thank you. Yeah, that's what I was. The Wacko verse. Yeah. Ooh, we need a new one, a remixed Conan. John Arezzi sounds familiar because I think Bryan last mentions him all the time. Yeah, like I know the name, but John had a falling out with Bryan and had a show with him. He was also on a panel with Vince McMahon and Dave many years ago. Oh, is that like for the steroid thing? Right? That was on like Phil Donahue. Is that the right? It was on one of those shows, dude. Jenny Jones or Sally, Jesse, Raphael.
In the days when they had wrestling magazines, remember when you would look in the back disco and they had like pen pals and
of course.
Well, he was back from that day, and I think like when these young kind of nerds, they look at Meltzer like an old school nerd, like, wow, this is what this is like, you know what I'm saying? This guy's OG for us, you know, and they all understand each other.
I look at Jerry the King Lawler as an old school nerd, you know, he like draws Superman and shit, but he'll whoop your ass. That to me is like an old school nerd, you know?
Young nerds understand the older nerds, and they all kind of understand each other. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there's never been a more true statement in the year 2020 that young wrestling fans, instead of growing up to want to be professional wrestlers, they want to grow up to be Dave Meltzer.
When did you basically
have been a booker?
What?
Now
You should have been.
We've reacted to this on the show before. This is the legendary interaction of Ollie Anderson just burying Meltzer, dude. It is hilarious. Listen to Dave's like, oh, well, huh? He's like, you should have been a booker. And Dave's like, oh, because in his mind, he thinks he could be a fucking booker. Listen to this.
Dave Meltzer.
When did you basically...
You should have been a booker.
What?
You should have been a booker.
Okay. All right.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know everything about it. You should have been very successful.
Not in this era.
You're the most knowledgeable
Not
person I've
in
talked
this
to
era.
in my life.
That's what Dave says. Not like, no, bro, I'd have to hire someone else to do that for me. He goes, not in this era. Like, he could have did it in a different time. Well, you know, if I was the head booker of All Japan Joshi Wrestling in 1977, I would be the best booker of all time. There would be no need for Tony Khan.
The best guy's Tony Khan.
There'd be no need for him.
You should have been very successful.
Not in this era.
You're the most knowledgeable person I've talked to almost in my life. Next time Brent calls me, I'm gonna tell him to go shut up. I don't want to talk to him anymore. I'm gonna talk to Dave Meltzer.
All right.
What do you call a successful wrestler? That's the better answer. That's a better question. What do you consider a successful wrestler?
I guess someone who gets himself over to the public for years and years and years, and
it's a really easy answer. Even you should be able to come up with it.
Okay.
Did I say that I wanted to be in it in the book?
No, you devoted a chapter in the book to it, so obviously it hit you and it hit a nerve.
Chapter, Dave.
What?
How many pages is the chapter?
4 or 5 pages.
Oh, that's a lot, isn't it?
Well, it's in there.
See, Dave's just, and obviously you're thinking about Eric Bischoff. I'm in his mind all day. He just wants to think and feel like these wrestlers are thinking about him. Doesn't matter how bad AEW is because he knows that them and the bookers all thinking about him. So Dave is just going to shill it no matter what. Right? Because here he just wants to be like, oh yeah, well, clearly it's on your mind if it's in this book. And he's like, bro, it's because it was like a thing everyone was talking about, so I got to address it because I'm selling a fucking book, and I wrote 4 pages on it. Because I really don't care about you, right? But Dave has to feel like he's influencing the wrestling, and I'd be a good booker, just not in this era. Well, I don't mean it like I'd book good, Phil. I mean it like, well, actually, the era just wasn't that hot anymore. The best guy's Tony Khan.
Good God. Listen, it's just impossible to talk to you.
Okay.
You're like an awful lot of people that I've known in my lifetime, and I guess that must be like some people you've known.
Yeah.
I did it, and you wish you could. Have you got it yet?
What?
specifically?
Have I got what?
Not you. I don't care about you.
I don't care about
Unfortunately, the wrestling salaries, like all sports salaries, escalated. And there's a reason they escalated in wrestling because of competition. And
No, they didn't escalate because of competition.
yeah, they did. If you didn't,
were you in the business, or are you just talking about it like you think you know something?
well,
Like my book or don't like my book, probably a good idea for some of your people to read it. Maybe somebody will get something out of it.
oh, I think everyone will get something out of it.
You didn't.
Yeah, I got your perspective on things.
I did, Ollie. I got your perspective on things. Ollie's like, no, you didn't, because I fucking am telling you what my perspective is now, and you're just arguing it. So clearly you fucking didn't, you geek. Dave.
Dave Meltzer on
Dave Meltzer on Dave Meltzer.
All right.
You're almost as bad as me, except I was worth something.
Oh, okay. All right.
Come on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, Ric Flair is wonderful.
I didn't say that, but Ric Flair.
56, and Hulk Hogan can't draw a dime, and Ric Flair can't either, but they're still working. That's good.
Yeah, but they had tremendous careers.
Yes, sure they did. Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
And Randy Savage had a tremendous career.
The world champion.
What? Randy Savage had a tremendous career too.
Oh yeah, he's wonderful.
Well, I'm just making a point. You know, I mean,
you aren't making a point. You're
Meltzer, what's the point? Well, I'm just making a point. What is it?
Begrudge that a lot of people were able to earn a lot of money in wrestling. I mean, I there are times I wish that wrestling hadn't changed, but it did. But that doesn't mean that the guys who, you know, were the top stars of today are not super talented performers at what they do.
Is it possible for you not to be speaking for just a second?
Go ahead.
Your opinion is different than what you put across as fact. When you say that Randy, whatever the heck you think he is, that's your opinion.
I know I'm saying he was successful. I didn't even say he was a great worker, although
shit,
at times
Dave just spurgs out. No, listen to what Ollie's saying, dude. He's saying that was your opinion. No, because I'm not even saying he was successful. I'm saying, blah, blah. Dave just refutes to refute. Like, he just won't agree. It just has to be, I'm right. That's all he cares about. The whole thing, Ollie's trying to tell him, dude, yes, that's your opinion, but then you try and pass it off as fact. And your opinion's fine. But then when you try and pass it off as fact, it's when we got a fucking problem. And so he just can't. Dave just spurgs out, and, you know.
He was.
I don't care about a great worker.
Okay.
Tex McKenzie wasn't a great worker either.
Okay, true. He definitely wasn't. Okay.
All right. Dusty Rhodes wasn't a great worker, but we drew money with him.
That's right. And Hulk Hogan wasn't a great worker, and Vince McMahon drew money with him.
The match that you see Ric Flair have today is the one that you saw him have 10 years ago, which is the match you'll have him see tomorrow.
Yeah?
He's got one match, and that's it.
But
that's why, in my opinion, there's an awful lot to be desired. If he's still able to go out there and wrestle and draw money, then fine. That's all that counts. Being a good worker, that's your...
Okay.
Okay, yeah, let me just play this shitty rock and roll music. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Fucking Dave, man. Just an ignorant putz. Here we go. A young, handsome, this looks like Tyler Breeze with a fresh dye job back here. And I think we got Dave Chappelle back here. No, I'm just joking. And then you had Dusty Rhodes over here. And let's see what Dusty Daddy has to say about old Stooge Meltzer.
He is so knowledgeable of this industry. Why has he not opened his own territory, ran his own business? Because the first...
Lincoln Hawk, a member for 5 months, says, Ollie Anderson for his whole life was the embodiment of get off my lawn. Guy, it's glorious. Yeah, dude. I love how he handled that. That's one of the most legendary burials of Meltzer, was that one. And again, why? Because it's one of the rare times we actually see Meltzer challenged. So again, you guys see the poll in the chat. Bryan Alvarez, he doesn't get a pass with your boy Phil yet. Okay, even though we're seeing some pushback. But the reason we're all popping for it is because that's the only time we actually see Dave face real pushback. On Twitter, he's just calling people silly goose and saying random numbers. I was just scrolling through Twitter. I see Neckbeards posting shit. He's in the chat here. Shout out Neckbeards. And he's posting shit. Dave's dropping his fucking crooked Steiner math. And it's just, I don't know. We just got to sit here and laugh at it. Yeah, thank you, Ollie. And thank you, Lincoln Hawk. Yeah, let's and Dusty's what did Dusty say here? Let me think. He was saying why didn't he open a territory? That's it too. So again, I'm not every like food critic is a 5-star chef or whatever. Not every fucking critic of wrestling is a 5-star wrestler. Not every like political pundit is the president, you know. But at the same time, if Dave is worth these millions of dollars and even he's talking shit to Ollie, oh, not in this era. Oh, maybe I could book, not in this era. And Dusty's just saying, dude, open your own fucking territory then. Put your money where your mouth is what he's getting at. But yeah, let's hear what he's got to say. This, again, is another classic one.
Thing he would do would put himself on top, make himself the champion.
And so he's basically, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. That's the point I was trying to make. Dusty's going to point out how Dave's just a mark for himself. It's not even, if he really cared about wrestling, he'd actually do shit to contribute to wrestling. Start a territory, daddy. Instead, he's like, if he did, he would just put himself on top, mark out for himself, all of that, even though, like, that's even giving Meltzer too much credit. I don't even think he'd, you know what I mean? Do you think Dave, like, knows how to wrestle? Do you think he thinks he would know how to wrestle? Like if he just got in a ring? Oh my God, that's the new poll. I'm ending this poll and I'm starting a new fucking poll because I want to know what you guys think. This is hilarious. Hold on. We're on to something here. Hold on a second. Does Dave think? Here we go. This is an awesome one. Do you think Dave thinks he knows how to wrestle? Bro, this is a goated poll. Okay, everyone vote on this poll. I want to see everyone vote on the poll and hit the like. Do you think Dave thinks he knows how to wrestle? I hope this poll goes in. Here we go. Yeah, so everyone votes. That's hilarious.
Counts. Being a good worker, that's your
okay.
This guy Meltzer is so knowledgeable of this industry. Why has he not opened his own territory? Ran his own business, because the first thing he would do would put himself on top, make himself the champion, and everybody on the net would hate his
internet writers and dirt sheet guys, were they your critics?
No, I didn't care. Like I always said, if all those guys are such great wrestling minds, I mean, anybody can Monday quarterback. I just always thought that, you know, if you're so brilliant, why have you not, you know, Meltzer, why have you not booked it for a major? You know, those sheets had a lot of, you know, dud. You know, and it was every year, it was like match of the year, you know, Abu Zago versus Naposano in the Carokian Hall. Like, yeah, right. Saw it win.
And that's what Dave does, man. We talked about it the other day. He's like, oh, the Great Rampage. He called it the Great Rampage show. And then he said, I heard Fletcher and whoever the fuck had a great match. Looking for people to report, send me reports. So anyone can just email this idiot and work him and be like, oh, this is the best match ever. Oh, yeah, Fletcher tore it down. And then Dave will tweet that out, the Great Rampage show. Didn't even watch it yet. When the fuck did you see it?
Fuck you. You know, telescope.
And when Dave used to say that shit, you know, in Europe, they're doing a lot of great stuff. He said that shit to Van Vliet. And it's like, where are you watching? And I think he asked him, like, well, where are you watching this? And he's like, well, you know, I get sent things. And so you saw clips of Gunther and was like, oh, that was awesome. And then Dave will just go based on that. It's insanity.
San Jose.
Is that where he's from?
Near there, right?
Yeah, I never liked him, never will. How's your life, buddy?
Oh, no.
Bet you ain't better than mine.
Oh, yeah, and I don't think Dave has a wife.
A lot of our guys,
that's silly.
Unfortunately, listen to the people on the internet who, the so-called, the so-called experts.
Unless you count that girl who put a banana on his head.
Never laced up a pair of boots.
Good or bad, the internet?
The ones that call themselves experts and, you know, and have all these, you know, the cures for the ailments of our business. You know what? I think they're a big joke. And the people that buy into this, you know, they're only smart because of what we let them be smart too. But you listen to them and they've got all the answers, and this guy needs to be pushed and this guy needs to go. Undertaker needs to retire 10 years ago. You know what? I kind of think it's funny. they forgot that they're fans. And that's all they are fans.
We're Marks. Phil S. Marks.
Have with
S
the
is for smart.
wrestling media, if you will, is that they have no credibility. They will report rumors or just make up as fact. And then when it doesn't happen their way, they'll say, oh, well, they changed their plans. When the people that are in the know that are actually doing it.
Meltzer. I said Alpha was dead. Well, that's what other people thought. I'm not trying to make an excuse, but that's what other people thought. But so I just said it.
Or sitting there going, no, that never was a plan. No, really, they changed their mind.
Oh no, yeah, that was the plan. As far as we heard, that was the plan. I mean, maybe if they changed the plan, then I don't know. Maybe change the best guys. Tony Khan. Yeah, and that, folks, was an epic Dave Meltzer year in review dumb moment of the year, I guess, all combined into one and over history. Just a reminder as well. Let's play Flute from the chat for that. And we got to drop an E flute too. How can we not? So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for being here. Round of applause for the chat for being here. What an amazing run-in. Of course, you see our guy Neckbeard in the chat. Make sure you guys check out TT Dub later tonight. And shout out George who came in here. Yeah, the replay will be up right away. I hope you guys enjoyed this. A fun one before the end of the year. Guys, we're going live tomorrow to watch Dynamite. Make sure you tune in. We are going live on Saturday night to talk some shit. Make sure you tune in. And on then Wednesday on Christmas, I'm going live with a holiday special. It's going to be fun. It's going to be what you expect from a live show, a little different though, and we're going to do end of the year awards. I'm going to announce them. Thank you everybody who voted on all the polls, by the way, on all the different social medias. What else? So yeah, and then we're going to announce the winners. I have my 5 predictions for AEW, 5 predictions for WWE. I have predictions for other as well. We're going to play that. We have special Christmas segments and things of that sort. It's going to be a fun time. We're going to get demonetized as shit because I can't help it. We got to do, if we're going to do it, we're going to do a PWT Christmas proper. So yeah, make sure you join me for that. If you can, on Christmas. Hopefully you guys can. I know you got other plans and stuff, but you're my family, goddammit. So we're the PWT universe, right? We got to check in with each other at least for a little bit. It won't be an uber long 4-hour show or anything like that, but it's going to be a great time. It's going to be funny. And yeah, I just want to thank you all for being here. Make sure you check out we're at 5,200 subs on this channel, so keep running those up. We're headed to 5.5k, and then we're at 1,500 on the other channel, and then yeah, we're on Spotify, everything like that. And what else? The Patreon, dude. So hours and hours of bonus content. If you like this sort of thing and you want to hear me and Alt Jake or whatever riffing about Tough Enough while we're watching it, we just uploaded episode 5. Come and check that out as well. Thank you all for being here. And with that, I'll bid you adieu. Kiss, kiss, bang, bang. I'll see you all in the upside down. And peace.
Can see it's not just me.
Jack, why do you insist on doing this dumb internet shit on TV?
I look and see it's not just me.
This place is a fucking joke, man. You're a clown. I quit.
So many of us have stood where we stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. So many of us have stood where we stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. We call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're 1 and 1 for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild.
No. It doesn't make logical sense, but it makes.
Well, yes, of course.
But it makes wrestling booking sense. Of course, this makes no sense. Of course, okay, it makes no sense. However, in pro wrestling booking, which often makes no sense, you would do that. It's about making money. It's not about anything else. Wrestling's always been about making money first and foremost. That's it.
I look and see it's not just me.
Last weekend was the greatest weekend in AEW history. This is the greatest week.
I look and see it's not just me.
Security, my safety, my life was in danger at a wrestling show.
So many of us have stood where we stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. So many of us have stood where we stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. We call this problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand, we won't fall. We're 1-1 for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild. We call this problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand, we won't fall. We're 1-1 for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild. Get wild! Yeah!
If you're familiar with how we do things often here on these Wednesdays, it's a lot like one of my favorite movies, Time Cop.
What? Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah!
What do we got? Super Dave, Pro Wrestle Clips. Tony Khan has Camille and Megan Baines sitting at home being paid since 2023 for nothing. Come on now. It's not going to be the pot calling some kettle black on that one. Truth is the truth. Becker was more over than Monet. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm reading slow. Becker was more over than Monet and is going to the big times. Absolutely. And I said that. I think I covered that show. In fact, I know we did. And I pointed out, I'm going to go back and listen to my own comments. But I did make a mental note. And I think I did point out that I thought she looked really good because I had never seen her before. And now that you pointed out, I don't want to say she looked better than Mercedes, but I think the expectation was a little higher for Mercedes, obviously. And perhaps Stephanie exceeded hers and perhaps Mercedes